What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Slab Stocks live show today, covering the Bowman University Inception checklist, players, talking to different collectors coming in for guest appearances, and of course, one of the biggest things we'll be doing tonight is tracking the 5-case player break auction. It's ending on eBay tonight with the first player ending in 14 minutes now. That, if you're just joining right now on YouTube Live, first of all, welcome. And secondly, you can get right to the 5-case auction ending tonight by going to the link that I am posting here right now, or by going to the link that's already in the chat, or by going to the link that's in the description. This is something completely new that we're doing. We have never done this before. We have done case breaks upon case breaks for the last couple years now. Recently as well with Bowman. Nate ripped 5 cases on Bowman release day. But we're doing something totally new, where we are doing a player break that is on eBay, every single spot in the case at cases. There's 5 cases here, 192 players in this set, 160 autographs throughout the entire set. It's going to be a crazy break. It's happening on Friday, the release day of this product. And this is a multi-sport product combined between football and basketball, and it features the first cards and autographs of Victor Wembanyama, who will be going to the Spurs in next month's draft, and Caitlin Clark, of course, the women's basketball superstar in Iowa, amongst many other players like CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young. Tons of high school players are in here too. There's a lot going on in this set. Now, tonight's show is going to be about 3 hours and some change long. It's going to be a long one, so if you're going to be hanging out with us throughout the night, pop in, pop out. We'll have 3 guest appearances tonight I'm very excited about. First joining will be Jimmy from Kentucky Roadshow. Second will be Ryan from Card Collector 2. And third will be Manny from Too Thick Pod. All of them you've probably been familiar with through our channel at one point or another, or their own channels. But we're very excited to have them on tonight. 3 outstanding collectors and big-time college sports fans and college collectors as well. So, Nate, with that being said, thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, and actually, I am looking right at the cases as we speak.
Are you?
I can visualize them.
You can see all the Wembies in there?
I can see 30, 40,
30.
50. I can keep going.
50. Wow. Okay, that's a lot. That's over 3 in each case. Well, that's sitting there at least. But I'm super excited tonight. Joel, thank you for joining, and anyone that's here at the live show so far, thanks for being here. A couple things to start before we get going. One is that this is for a 5-case break. That means that any player that you buy in this auction, of course, they might not be hit. We'll be sending out every single card of all the different players from the product. There's 7 cards per box. And that means that in a case, 7 times 16, that's the amount of cards that there are. All of them will be sent out. Now, that doesn't mean that every single player will get a card out of a case, or even the 5 cases. But we will be sending out whatever is there. So know that while you're bidding. And then also know any of the players we talk about tonight, any of the players you might be looking at through the cheat sheet that's been going out through the Daily Slab, any of the players that we asked Jimmy about, Ryan about, Manny about, all the things that we talk about are our own opinions. Of course, there's some factual things behind here, like what do they do? What do they play? It's some statistics that they had. But any players we talk about or are excited about, just know it's because we're excited about them. Doesn't mean that you have to be excited about them. Make up those opinions for yourself as you listen to the show tonight and decide if you do want to or not bid in the 5-case player auction that is ending on eBay right now. You can go to the link that I put in the chat right now or in the description to get to our page that has all these spots winding down. And to start the night, I was just going to point out 10 players right now that I noticed before going live. Their bid amounts seemed rather minimal, like some of these things between like $1 and 10, a couple of maybe above that now since the last hour. They could have gotten some bids. But nice players, either still in college or just drafted in like the NFL, that I just think are quite nice value right now. Nick Singleton is one, and we'll talk about all these names on this list throughout tonight at one point or another before their auctions end. But just thought I would just put them on the table to start. Nick Singleton, Will Shipley, Marvin Mims, football player, just got drafted to the Broncos. Nathaniel Dell, who got drafted to the Texans. Tyrese Proctor, Vincent Iwuchukwu, Jared McCain, Jet Howard, Jeremy Roach, who is returning to Duke this year, that team that will battle Kansas for the top number 1 spot when the year comes around, and Kiki Rice, who plays for UCLA women's team. So those are just 10 names to start with, but we'll be talking about plenty of different players throughout tonight and who they are, what they do, and some of their bid amounts as the night goes on. So as you can see, our first player is going to end in 8 minutes here, Jaleel Billingsley. Other than that, Nate, just really quick, let me know, what are you excited about? Just overarching things about this set, about what's coming through here.
Excited to see what the patches look like for starters, and what they chose to put. What they chose, because you could choose some pretty cool stuff off some college jerseys. So I'm excited for that. See what Grady Dick and Jalen Wilson patches look like. Do they have patch cards?
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know about those specific players, but if you do have our cheat sheet, you can actually see which players do have the patch autographs. But all I know is that Dick does have patch autos.
There we go. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited tonight to see what the Kansas player prices end at. I won't be bidding, so don't worry. I won't. I won't be challenging any of you for those spots, but I am curious to see what they end at and how much they go for, more than anything.
As for myself, I would be excited about the badges in the set and not bidding in them either. However, there are no badges in the set.
Graham Mertz, bro.
What?
Graham Mertz.
Yeah, Graham Mertz recently transferred to Florida. So we'll see what happens tonight. 7 minutes, of course, until the first player ends. But overall opinions on this set for myself, Bowman Inception University, the patch autographs, I think, could be huge. We do not know yet if these are for sure game used or not. Scoot Henderson is in this any given punch. Also, that reminds me, before I jump into my opinions on the set, 8 p.m. Central Time or 9 p.m. Eastern Time is when the power hour starts. That's when like all of the tier 1 and tier 2 players in our cheat sheet will be ending. There's going to be an incredible amount of talent ending within that hour. And there's also some ending leading up to that hour as well that just didn't make it into the hour specifically. And we'll be talking about those names. So look out for, if you're looking for like Scoot Henderson, he'll be ending between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time is when that power hour is. Players like Scoot Henderson, Wembanyama, Caitlin Clark, all those big names. Matt says, is Bowman University going to be technically Wemby's first auto since that's the one he had signed in that picture at Ruben? So he does have the chrome autos that'll be coming out, but those are coming out some point in June. Inception is released first, which will have the first autographs and cards of him. But maybe he did a signing session for the chrome first. Not exactly sure how that exactly worked. Now, as for the set, I think what's very exciting about this set in particular is that this is going to be this year coming up is going to be like the first year that there's licensed cards releasing of these college players that are currently in school that will possibly act as, let's say, Bowman Chrome baseball prospects. They're not going to be on that level, right? Like Bowman Chrome baseball prospects has been around for decades of time. But I do think like Caleb Willings, top quarterback, in the set from USC, he's going to be at USC again. He's going to go for a back-to-back Heisman. Is he going to be in the, the college football playoff, maybe win a national title? Like all that stuff is low amount of supply out there, but high amount of potential with the amount of eyeballs on, top end college sports. March Madness as well with that coming up this upcoming year. This will be the first year upcoming that you can buy and sell players during the March Madness tournament of their licensed cards with their college logo. So that's what I'm very excited about, and want to cover a few of the players now in this first closing window. So when we cover players, they'll probably be within like 15-minute to 45-minute windows. So we'll kick this one off with the first player that is, pretty important ending in the first 15 minutes of the auction. And I'll just highlight it here with Jordan Travis, already at $76 current bid. That one ends in 8 minutes. He was top 10 last year in Division I for QBR at Florida State. Now, Florida State wasn't very good last year, but he is quite a highly touted football, quarterback prospect out of this current class going into 2024 next year. Supposed to be in around a third round area for quarterbacks right now. So he is a player to watch out for. This is ending in 8 minutes. Jackson Dart, want to point out really quick too, Ole Miss. There's quite a bit of competition at Ole Miss for a quarterback right now, but he was the starter last year at like 19, 20 years old. It's at $3.25 right now for Jackson Dart. So pretty solid value right there. He's got, I believe, both autographs and non-autos in the set. He does. He has autographs and non-autos, so plenty of chances to be able to get his cards. And seems like quite a steal for 5 cases right there, which is, impressive to get him for all 5 for $3.25. One thing I want to point out as well is that if you do buy multiple players in this 5-case break, you will get combined shipping. Every single player you buy, it'll be just 50 cents additional for shipping on top of what you are already paying for the first one. So you buy Dart for $4 right now, and then you buy Travis, you only pay 50 cents for the Travis shipping, or any other players you add on top of that, which is nice. Now, Nate, I know you're not big into college football, so to say. So Kansas has been pretty terrible over the last
for nearly my entire life.
Actually, probably the very worst team in Division I, I'd have to say.
There was a couple years ago, I forget if it was 538 or if it was, I don't remember the website that ran it, but they ran a projected wins compared to actual wins based on talent of recruits gotten, right? Assigned.
Yeah.
And Kansas was dead last for amongst every team in football for the project, because they fell way under their projected wins. But last year, bowl game, baby.
There you go. First bowl game in probably your lifetime. So that's fun.
Looking up.
Couple more names here. So that, with that being said, Nate's not going to be as connected to a lot of these football guys, but a lot of football is ending to start. There's going to be like about an hour of football ending to start, and then it'll go into some basketball and then into that power hour. So a lot of the names that Nate's definitely going to be, I'd say, more excited about will come in that basketball hour. But Josh Downs is a name here. He got drafted to the Colts, to the Indianapolis Colts in the 3rd round. I hear that he is looking pretty nice with the Anthony Richardson pairing right now. So that's a fun name to look out for. Already going to be in the NFL. I believe he played at UNC. Got to check the cheat sheet really quick. Yes, UNC wide receiver now with the Indianapolis Colts. This one is one of the biggest, I'd say, like boomer busts on the list is KJ Jefferson. It's at $15 right now. This one ends in 8 minutes. So this is KJ Jefferson of Arkansas. Last year, what I got him at, he was top 15 in QBR in last year in D1. And Penthouse, you got to go on to this link right here. Look up Wembanyama. I think that his spot's at 1650 right now.
It's at 1575.
It's not 1650. Fresh
look it up.
Positive.
I'm looking at it.
Either way, go to the link. Look up Wembanyama. It ends in like around 9 p.m. Eastern time, around there. But as for KJ Jefferson, here we go. So I looked at some projections for the 2024 NFL draft. They got him between the 1st round and the 6th round. So either he has a big year at Arkansas and he's going to get ranked, pretty highly in the NFL draft 2024. He is playing this upcoming college season, so it does give some runway for his cards. If he plays well, of course, that's not guaranteed, to increase in value as the season goes on, possibly increasing his draft stock. But it sounds like that either it's going to go really well, or, he could end up towards the day 3 quarterback range. But he's got a lot of talent, supposedly, reading online, and not a bad pick possibly for a lower dollar quarterback with potential with KJ Jefferson ending in 7 minutes now. Then what's up?
Matt says it's at 1675 now, but my computer still shows 1575. I wonder if
I thought it was 1675. All right, we have got a couple other guys coming up here. So Marvin Mims, he was drafted, I mentioned him, round 2 to the Broncos at $10.50 right now. He played at Oklahoma, had over 1,000 yards his junior year last year. To get an NFL wide receiver, 5 cases, it's around like $2 and some change a case right now. Marvin Mims is not a bad pick to go and grab a guy who you could get some autographs or non-autos of. In this, Michael Mayer was drafted to the Raiders in the 2nd round this year in the loaded tight end class. He's one of the top tight ends in the draft, 135 overall, and we'll be replacing Darren Waller with the Raiders. And then this is one of the guys I'm most excited about in this set. I'll actually be talking about in a little bit because starting in around a minute here, Nate and I are going to be giving our top 5 under the radar players in our opinion.
Real quick before you start, 10 seconds left on the first break.
10 seconds left on the first one here with Billingsley is going to wind down in 5 seconds. For anyone that's interested, the tight end of Texas just jumped up to 22.50 for Billingsley. Our first one closes. Thank you to anyone here tonight supporting.
What?
You really need to get some better bandwidth, bro. It's refreshing automatically for me.
Dude, it doesn't even refresh on your screen for me.
Well, hey, I clicked the item. So I clicked the item to look at it.
Oh.
Yeah, here I can share this tab if you really want me to. There you
go. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Also, bandwidth. Let me let you in on a little secret. My internet is so much better than yours, bro.
It is quite good. All right, Jaron Hall is the next one up. He actually got drafted to the Vikings quarterback. So if you want a quarterback, very, very affordable price right now. He's on the Vikings.
That's actually kind of interesting.
It is. I mean, if Kirk Cousins goes down, maybe he gets a game. You know how it goes when a player starts a game as a backup.
You know how it goes.
So Jaron Hall is ending right now. One of the players I'm most excited for this in this entire product. I'm a Wisconsin guy. I'm a Badger guy. I hate talking about Penn State in a good light. Shout out Slapsacks Vincent. But Nick Singleton, I watched some of his highlights, and he was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. He's running back for Penn State. coming in the line of Saquon Barkley, and his speed is unreal. He had 1,061 yards his freshman year at 19 years old, 12 touchdowns on like 155 carries. He was top something in the league in yards per carry, is like 6 point something yards per carry. He was the number 1 running back recruit in 2022. He's a number 19 overall recruit in the 2022 high school class. So that spot I'm extremely excited about because of that. I think that, and the whole thing about these players is for me, it's like targeting the players that are still in college. We'll have years to build in college, to build up their draft stock, to build up their hype and notoriety, just like in baseball. Nate, buying players in single A, double A before they get to the real, to the MLB.
Exactly what it's like.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at these sets, to where it's like I'm excited about that. Freshman running back who had a great year, should keep on progressing. Talked about a lot. Maybe one day gets in the Heisman conversation. That would be huge. So that's one of the players I'm really excited about. And let's just hop right into
Jackson Dart went for 13.
Jackson Dart ends for 13. There you go. Next sale. Travis is coming up next for any Seminole fans out there. That's like I said, a big spot for any Seminole fans or even players that want to prospectively prospect on his draft position. But Nate, I want you to tell me, and this goes for football or basketball, your top 5 under the radar players in this product, in your opinion.
So I have my list here, and first, I don't know if these guys are under the radar. They're under the radar to me because I'm not a college football guy, compared to probably being under the radar for other people. But Trevor Etienne, Travis's brother, a big sophomore or a stud freshman year at Florida last year. And anytime you have a brother who's a running back in the NFL and you are a running back in a big Power 5 school, I'm pretty excited about that. And since he's so young, he should have extra time like we talked about. Second is Will Shipley. He had over 1,000 yards as a running back for Clemson last year as a sophomore. His quarterback, Cade Klubnik, security blanket for a young sophomore quarterback in Cade Klubnik. So I expect a big junior year and maybe a good draft position there, hopefully. Me and my football knowledge, not great. Walker Howard. So you brought up Jackson Dart earlier. Well, this is a former 5-star recruit that transferred from LSU after one season to Ole Miss, and now he's in a QB competition with Jackson Dart. I'm just taking a gamble here that a young guy like this leaves LSU with a fire in his belly because he wasn't going to get the starting gig and goes in Ole Miss and wins himself a starting job as a sophomore. And then he has years to become better. Xavier Hutchinson. So he was a 6th-round wide receiver drafted by the Texans. Young quarterback there, young wide receiver that can grow together. He was actually, before you say, why would you choose a 6th-round wide receiver? He was apparently Pro Football Focus's 2nd-rated wide receiver in the draft. Now, you shouldn't put a ton of stock into Pro Football Focus, this or that. But I will say is at least it's interesting enough and probably going to be cheap enough where it's like, if it pans out, it's really cheap.
Seriously, I got a couple guys like that too, but go ahead.
Yeah, and then lastly, I struggled to find a 5th one, but Ashlyn Watkins plays for a great program at South Carolina for South Carolina Women's, was a former McDonald's All-American. But she barely played last year. But if you can get into South Carolina, if you are a former McDonald's All-American, and more importantly, if you're 6'3" and can dunk in a game, you're athletic as a woman. And
as a man too, I had struggles dunking.
I've seen a lot of people under 6'3" dunk as men.
No, I know. I'm saying from a personal experience. It took me a while to get dunking.
That's fair. But it's like she has all that riding for her, and she barely got to play. I hope maybe sophomore year things look up a little bit. I
agree. All right, I'm going to share mine here. And remember, in 10 minutes, we will be joined by Kentucky Roadshow. Jimmy, extremely excited about that. Huge, passionate Kentucky fan. He's actually in the house right now. We might need to bring him in a little bit early here and let him start ripping.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, how about this? How about we just go and we'll do Jimmy right now. I see him in the studio here. And everyone, we got some auctions ending in the next 10, 15 minutes. So as we're talking to Jimmy, be sure to look in at that link in the YouTube chat and grab any spots that you're interested in. So Jimmy, if you're ready, I'm going to add you to the stream right now. and we're gonna get going here. So Jimmy, welcome, my man.
What's going on, y'all?
How pumped are you about this set, my guy?
I mean, right into my veins. I mean, look at my office. It's all collegiate Kentucky stuff. And you're telling me I can get Levis and Oscar dual autos? I'm like winning all your bids on your auctions right now.
Well, we appreciate that, Jimmy.
This guy's on cloud nine. Not only is he bidding on Kentucky stuff, but he's got a Braves hat on, and his Braves are one of the best teams in the league. Ronald Acuna looks like he's going to go 40 for 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases.
He's unbelievable. And he's not just hitting homers. I mean, they're 450. He is just launching stuff. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. He's I saw he's .001 behind Brent Rooker in OPS right now. So he's pretty much at the top of the league as performance.
Imagine saying that at the start of the season. We're going to be a quarter of the season in, and Ronald Acuna is going to be second to Brent Rooker.
I mean, that's just stuff people dream about saying. So I understand.
Seriously. All right, Jimmy, to kick it off here, I know you, Nate knows you. I'm assuming a lot of people don't know you, but I still want you to tell us, why are you a Kentucky fan? Give us like the 2-minute overall, like I'm a Kentucky fan because of this.
So 2-minute overall, I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky, which would be like growing up in Lawrence, Kansas, or growing up in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. You're going to be dialed in there. And then especially over the last 20 years, one is I worked for Tubby Smith at Kentucky, so I got to be in and around that program and had guys that I was a counselor for that later went to the NBA. And then since then, with Calipari, the amount of guys that are in the league, it continues that fandom on and on. But got to know a lot of those guys. For instance, like today, I'm one of those guys watching the draft combine on ESPN2 because I've gotten to know Oscar Sheboy. He's a dear, dear friend. And when you tie in where you grew up, a place where you worked, that produces professional athletes, and you roll that onto one, and then it's like, oh, cards. Yes, I will collect those cards religiously. And it just makes it that much more enjoyable because we all love buying and flipping to make money. That's wonderful. But this is the true nostalgia. I feel a part of it. This is part of my life, my fabric of what I am and who I like to follow. And I'm not selling this. Like, I don't need this. I don't want to sell it. This is for my office desk of my Nick Richards, who's just a center for the Charlotte Hornets. But this is my one-of-one Kentucky Nick Richards, and he was in our store, and I love him, and I'm never selling it. I don't care if he became Michael Jordan.
I love it. That's quite the explanation there, bro. We really appreciate that. All right, Jimmy, I'm going to pose you the tough question right now. You've got Sheboy in the set. You've got Levis, Chris Livingston, Toppin, and I think who's the last one? There's one more.
I think Ray Davis is in there. He's a transfer, Raymond Davis.
So of those guys, if you can only buy one player, not named Sheboy, or if it is Sheboy, tell us.
Out because we know he's going to
take Sheboy out. Take Sheboy out. Who is it? One of the players.
It's a little harder because on this you got the football too, right? So normally I would say, of course, Oscar be first, but it would be Levis. But so Chris Livingston, I think he's going to end up coming back. He's testing the draft waters now, but he actually was a freshman last year, McDonald's All-American. He was in all the McDonald's All-American, actually. There you go. Little Chris Livingston.
Nice.
McDonald's All-American set. And he came and did a couple of signings in the shop, and we got to know him, and he's just a great kid. And Levis would have the higher market value right now, but if Livingston becomes, in a sport I love more than football, I just love basketball more, I would say Chris, a guy we got to know who I really appreciate, I would say Chris would be second for me, probably just a touch above Levis, because I did get to throw a football with Levis. I don't know. I didn't even get to tell you all that story.
No,
do I have time to tell this real fast?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So Topps came here and filmed last year, and during that, they had to go get Will Levis to throw a football and put on some jerseys for a player event worn jersey, And they said, well, come go with us. So I went with them, and they had him try on these jerseys and take them off, Kentucky jerseys. And then they're like, hey, can you throw a football with Jimmy over here so we can cut it up and put it in cards? And so I was like 3 feet from him. I was like, hey, don't throw it too hard. I'm not Wandale. And then he like chucked it like 700 miles an hour and took my fingerprints off. And I was like, Will, I am just an old white guy. Like, stop. But then they took all that stuff. So I don't know if it'll be in this, but eventually there's going to be a product of Will Levis signed cards with a piece of football that it's going to be Will Levis signed and like also Jimmy game used.
That's so fun.
Player event used. I'm going to have to go try and find that.
Jimmy DNA cards there.
Oh, nobody wants that.
That's pretty cool, though. That's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing. Honestly, I mean, maybe I don't know how long that was ago, but maybe they're in this set. Maybe you got to get all the patch autos of Will Levis for that reason now.
Absolutely. And I think it's a brilliant idea that they did with this set of the Levis and Oscar dual autos. I mean, you guys know, like Kentucky football has gotten way better in the last 10 years. No question we are better. But it's not since Tim Couch we had a quarterback taking this high. And now you've got your player of the year and this really good quarterback who did some great things while he's here. Dual auto. I mean, I can't get enough of that.
I love the dual set because like there's some mega duels in there. There's like, I think Caleb Williams and Bryce Young. There's like a CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. Like there's some really big duels in here to where I'm like, these will be big chase cards, honestly.
Oh, and just Caitlin Clark cards. I can't wait. I'm a basketball fan. Like, give me the Caitlin Clark cards. I can't wait.
Huge. Those things, I mean, in my opinion, and also via the bidding on this 5K's player auction, hers is the second highest spot right now behind Wembanyama for good reason. I mean, she is by far and away, brought the most hype to women's college basketball or even women's basketball I've ever seen in my life.
It's not even close. I was out at the Mint collectible when that Final Four was going on, and that's all anybody talked about.
Yeah, they didn't even talk about the men's. All Caitlin Clark.
It was just all like it was just Caitlin Clark that while we were walking around that show. And another really cool thing, actually, I'll just say it here. I haven't put it on my Instagram yet. I don't want to. Is it okay if I tell this real quick?
Go ahead. Go ahead, man. See your time.
So the next big product to come out is Bowman Chrome University.
Mm-hmm.
So Topps reached out about a month and a half ago when it had an early release date. And because you guys know, you've been to the shop here and it's changed a lot since you guys have been here. But we're heavy college basketball focus, museum, all that stuff. But Topps is going to launch that product a day before the rest of the nation gets it from our shop here.
That's awesome.
And the goal is too, I think it's going to happen. Pretty sure it is. But we get it June 1st. I think everybody else gets it June 2nd. But Oscar's going to sit with me, and we're going to rip, and Topps is going to be here filming. And then, like, if Oscar hits an Oscar, he'll sign it, and we'll give it away to people in the shop. And then hopefully we get some Victor and Caitlin cards and all that kind of stuff too. But we get to introduce that one to the world from a shop that's pretty heavily college basketball focused. I'm pretty juiced about it.
I would be too.
Aaron, that's big news because Jimmy put on his put a post up today or a story, I don't remember which, with just the box, but didn't say what it was going to be. So he really broke the news right here.
That really was. I had not planned on this. I was just like, yeah, why not? I'm going to post about it in the next couple of days because it's going to be June 1st. And it's like, oh, this is awesome. I'll say it tonight with the Slab Stocks guys. But Oscar, I think, is going to be sitting with me ripping. The only problem is I've had Oscar in the shop hang out with us many times. I've got to make sure he understands, like, don't treat these cards the way you have been, because he picks them up and they all look like miniature stickers, and then he'll like shuffle them and stuff. I'm like, dude, I know you get a lot of rebounds, but we do not need to do that.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, you see, like, even Wembanyama's hands holding the card, it's probably like 10% compared to his hand. It's insane.
Well, it's crazy. They did the measurements for the combine. Of course, I'm the college guy watching this, and Oscar had the biggest hands tied with Zach Edey, and Zach Edey's 7'3" and Oscar's 6'7".
That's insane.
Like if you look at all the measurements, like look at him, it's like 9.25 or 9.75. And every time it makes sense to me because when I shake his hand, I feel like a Muppet. I'm like, "Hello, Mr. Oscar." Like,
what's his wingspan?
oh, it was huge. It was like 7'4", I think. I can't remember. I have to look, but it was bigger. Like said, like the top 6 wingspans compared to height, and he was in the top 6.
Oscar is going to make a career for himself as an absurd defensive player. I can just see it already.
Yeah, so
I think it is too. I mean, he doesn't translate to today's NBA, which that stinks because 15 years ago he's a lottery pick. That's back when Chuck Hayes could play in the NBA. But now it's a 3-and-D league. But he didn't shoot threes at Kentucky. But I went and watched him do a workout, getting ready for all these combines and stuff like that. And he was knocking him down. I think he did 56 in 5 minutes. I watched him. But he never had to shoot threes here, and he's not. If he comes back, we still don't know. It's not like next year he will with DJ Wagner and Robert Dillingham and all these top 10 recruits. That would never happen here anyway. And it's just going to be interesting to see what he's got. But, today at the combine, he had 16 boards in 17 minutes. Like, okay, you're elite at this. You'll be on a team. You're not going to be a superstar, but can you be Dennis Rodman or Nick Claxton? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's an exciting role. And then I guess my, question to you is, we don't know if he'll be in the NBA next year, if he'll be back at Kentucky. If he comes back to Kentucky, there's 4 top 15 recruits going to Kentucky next year, I think.
Yes.
And if Chris Livingston returns too, do you think you have a good chance to win it all?
I hope so, as long as we don't play Nate's team, too much. We beat them at Lawrence 2 years ago. They beat us at Rupp Arena last year. But I mean, it's interesting. Cal went to the transfer portal for the last couple of years, and we've been okay. We had a good year until we lost to St. Pete that time. But now he's kind of gone back to what made him famous, and that's get a whole lot of superstar freshman kids. And it's probably the best class for us since Wall, Bledsoe, Cousins, those guys came. And now you've got DJ Wagner, Robert Dillingham, who are both point guards, which reminds me of when John Wall and Eric Bledsoe came, because that usually top 10 guards don't go to the same place.
Yeah.
But we got those 2 guys, plus Justin Edwards, plus Aaron Bradshaw, 7-footer, And then if you get Livingston, who I think needs another year, but I think is going to be great. And then Oscar back, woo, buddy.
That's a wild team.
I'll have to get you guys back down for a game. We'll have to go see another game together.
That'd be crazy. That was a blast. One of my highlights of last year
experience.
was going to Kentucky for the first time. And that was awesome, Jimmy. So thanks for that experience again. And
Dude,
also,
always. Are you kidding me?
In the other room, I got the Frank Kaminsky Game U shoe you gave me too. So, there's no Wisconsin players in this set, but at least I got some Game U shoes from Jimmy. So
always. You can have all my Wisconsin stuff free of charge. That's not a problem.
I'll take it. All right, Jimmy, anything else you want to let the people know about your excitement around, Bowman? And also, I guess last question too is, how big is Bowman University, these new sets coming out, players in college, for you all in the shop? Like, is it major?
We've got 4 shops, right? So, and I'd say New York, no, California, we'll see, but Dallas, which is near Baylor, our shop there, and here it's huge, and here especially, right? It is massive for us, and to have good football players like Levis, but that's going to drive the market here. Like, do we sell any hockey cards here? Not really, but cheaper collegiate, all that, or even the high-end collegiate, that's not gonna make it. I think like Prism Draft, New York didn't sell that many boxes, but we sold like 6 cases in 2 days here because that's our regional focus, right? So
yeah.
we love that stuff, and it's not like it's just Kentucky guys. We're watching Brandon Miller play against us. We're watching Scottie Pippen Jr. and all these other great players in the SEC. And when Kansas comes to town and we get to see these guys play, you might fall in love with that type of guy. And then it's interesting. I just love that Topps Fanatics is going this route with it, because in my conversations with them, they want to make the collegiate stuff kind of like Bowman Firsts in baseball, where you got to wait a little while, and then that's going to be a big Acuna card. But right now he's with the Greenville Braves. Well, now you get this wonderful, okay, there's a great fervor around CJ Stroud, Ohio State. You get to watch him, you get to see him. And before, we had to wait till they declared until we could get that card. Well, now, if Oscar comes back, people can get his card signed while he's playing in Kentucky. Like that,
people go.
That only helps the hobby. That only helps where, especially when you're not in a major metropolitan area like us, that these guys can get cards and then go watch them play that night, or watch them play that night and go get that collectible the next day, which until this year had never happened.
100%. And that's why I think that's why I think this thing in particular is a big deal. Not necessarily Inception, but Chrome and Football Chrome, whatever it is, because like you can get those players. Like JJ McCarthy just ended here, but he's Michigan quarterback who could be a first-round pick next year.
Yep.
One of the top quarterbacks in the country. Like, you never be able to do that before, ever.
It's wonderful for me, who even in the 90s was collecting press pass and, Sage, that stuff, because it's the only stuff that had them in their college jerseys. Like, I can't tell you my excitement. I think I ordered like 5 of my own cases of this stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, and I'm happy they were able to join tonight. And thanks for bidding in the auctions too. I hope that Nate pulls you the duel of Sheboy and Levis on release day. That'd be crazy.
Man, Nate, if that happens, you will hear me from here. You can just step outside and you'll hear me.
One second, guys. I got to go out the door here. There he is.
Well, I thank you all so much. I love y'all to death. You know that. And I think we're doing something to trade night this year.
So I texted you. I'll text you tomorrow about that. Okay. So look out for the text tomorrow.
Awesome. If I missed one earlier, I apologize, but we'll do that. And I love what you're doing. I'm in your corner, except for during Kansas games and Wisconsin games. And whatever I can do, let me know. But we're going to have a blast, and I'll be posting about watching y'all's breaks ASAP.
I appreciate it, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Bye.
See you, Jimmy.
Gosh, I love Jimmy, man.
The
energy's always the best.
It is incredible. Every single time we see him, the energy is the same. Great. It is one of the best traits about him.
No doubt. All right, everyone. As Jimmy was in here, we were talking with him about Kentucky and all that different information, and good stories too. Wow, he shared some great stories. There's been some sales, of course, and we're not going to go back and recap them because so much is happening at one time tonight. But there are some players coming up here that I did want to point out. Dominique Jackson right now is ending in a minute. You might say, I've never heard of this guy. He's at $1. So he was hurt last year for USC, but he's one of the top recruits for defense in the country. And this is a far out projection, but I have seen projected in the first round to second round area for defense, cornerback position out of UFC. I mean, right, he's a defensive player. I know that it's nothing to go and party about because everyone wants quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. But like a few bucks, hit a bunch of cards, stash them away for years, and maybe he gets drafted in the first round someday. And I'm sure it'll be worth more than $1 probably at that point. So, and obviously that's not guaranteed to happen, but a fun little one right there to look at. Graham Mertz, oh my gosh, can I just tell you how trash this guy is? He's at $5.50 right now. I'm not going to tell you to spend any money on him, but what I have to say is this: he's succeeding Anthony Richardson in Florida. If Florida is going to succeed this year, it means that Graham Mertz has to succeed this year. Me being a Wisconsin fan watching him, I have no confidence in that. However, I have been around long enough to know that Wisconsin is not, or at least in the past, we will going forward, I think, now with our new coach. But Graham Mertz, maybe he goes to Florida and plays a lot better. I wouldn't be surprised because obviously you're going to an SEC team that has been built around high-flying offenses. That's not what Wisconsin ever was about. It's always a run game. So maybe Wisconsin was just a bad spot for him in general. He's at $5. He's got autographs and non-autos in this set, I do believe. So maybe that's a fun one just to throw a few dollars down on for 5Ks and see what happens.
Hey,
go ahead.
Real quick, as we're looking at these, I just thought something that Jimmy said was kind of interesting, where they don't sell collegiate product in New York, but they sell a ton of it in Lexington. And something I hadn't ever thought of, but is kind of cool, is that like these collegiate products where they get the players in early is going to really help out card shops in those random small areas where there is just a school and no professional teams.
There's no doubt about that. Huge.
Like
Huge.
just a huge blessing to all those places. I mean, if there's a card shop in Lawrence, Kansas, it's going to do great. If there's a card shop in Stillwater, Oklahoma, it's going to do great, right?
Lincoln, Nebraska too. Like you think about it, and like a lot of these cards that are releasing of these players, you know, their draft picks cards are coming out just about when they're already in the NFL and stuff. So it's not, the excitement level is not there, but it will be there, you know, with these things coming out. Next player highlight, Jaden Reed, drafted second round by the Packers, Michigan State guy. We'll talk to Manny Layer, who's a huge Michigan State fan. He's at $13 right now, ending the next 4 minutes. He's going to have to catch some passes this year for the Packers to have some offense going. So not a bad one to look at from like a game time perspective. There's like no veterans in the room there. It's second year Watson and Dobbs. And then you got Jaden Reed and then Wicks also, who is a fifth rounder or sixth rounder maybe for the Packers. And then there's a couple more cover right now. I'm just going to shout out a few more names. And this is closing up until 6:46 p.m. Central because we'll be welcoming Ryan Card Collector 2 on in the next few minutes here. But J.C. Latham, he's an offensive lineman actually, and he's from Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Played at Catholic Memorial for 2 years, which is right down the road for me. And he then transferred to IMG Academy, got recruited to Alabama, is literally one of the top linemen in entire college football.
And he left Wisconsin?
Yeah, he went to play at IMG. He got recruited there.
People are wondering if
oh, you just wait. I got something.
Your head coach. I can't remember his name right now.
No, I got something for you later. You're gonna.
That's what it takes to even recruit anybody.
Remember, this was 3 years ago, or two or 3 years ago. He's like a junior now. He's gonna go into the NFL draft next year.
Whatever.
But
Graham Mertz went for $17, bro.
Oh man,
18.26. Just kidding.
Yeah, but you're gonna get the smoke later when there's a player who's not going to Kansas, who's from Kansas, and top player in the country. Yeah, so there's a few names ending. There's also Nathaniel Dell, that receiver who's on the Texans now, could create a nice pairing with CJ Stroud, who I'm sure we'll be talking about in the next couple of minutes here with Ryan, of course, huge Ohio State fan. But that's an interesting name. It's at like $1 right now. Like this is literally a third round NFL talent. He had 1,300 yards, 10 plus touchdowns in back-to-back seasons at Houston. Like that's insane stats in college. I know that it's, Houston, not playing at Alabama or playing at LSU, but for, he's at $1 right now for all 5 cases. So that's quite an impressive resume he's got from college and possibly a name to look at ending here in the upcoming minutes. Now we do have a couple minutes, I think, until Ryan joins. Nate, when you see him there, just let me know because I'm looking at a document right now. I can't see. Actually, I can't see it. Right? But I want to share my quick 5 under the radar players. So some of these guys will be ending throughout the next, probably 30 minutes or so. My first 2, I couldn't pick between the 2. For anyone that knows me really well, you'll know that I am like a secondary Texas fan. So they're not my favorite team. I didn't go to school there. However, I wanted to go to school there for a long time. I also wanted to go to Wisconsin. Basically came down between the 2 schools, and then Texas didn't take me. So I went to Wisconsin. But either way, I've been cheering for Texas sports for pretty much my entire life since I was like 5-6 years old. Orange became my favorite color, so I started to enjoy Texas and like Vince Young, love Colt McCoy and Jordan Shipley and all those guys. So a really weird way to start liking a team. Like, Jimmy lived in Lexington, Nate Elise was born in Kansas. I just like the color. But Isaiah Nair and
so do you like Oklahoma State as well then?
No, get out of here. Isaiah Nair.
Okay.
No, not Marcus Smart. Xavier Nair and now you're messing me up. Isaiah Nair, Xavier Worthy, 2 names very similar, but they're both in the wide receiver room at Texas right now, which I was reading is currently second in the country in I guess maybe an unofficial ranking behind Ohio State, which is pretty obvious. Marvin Harrison Jr. is there. They still got a few other guys there. They just had Smith and Jigba going to the draft, all that stuff. But those 2 guys are going to be playing wide receiver for Texas this year. Nair is coming off an ACL tear. He was at Wyoming before that. He had good numbers at Wyoming. This is like super under the radar. Like they're probably going to end for a few dollars each year. So like, I'm not saying spend a lot of money on this. It's just a fun pick to maybe they'll do well. And then Worthy had really good stats in his first 2 years at Texas. And the big reason why I'm excited about Texas receivers is because of their quarterback situation. They've got Quinn Ewers, who was like one of the top 3 recruits in the country just 2 years ago, transferred from Ohio State to Texas. And then they have Arch Manning coming to town. So one of those two guys, I think they're going with Ewers for sure to start the season. And then possibly maybe Manning comes in later in the season if Ewers isn't doing well, or it's a year after that Manning starts playing. One of those two guys will be throwing them football. They're both top quarterbacks in the country. They should be pretty affordable, pretty cheap cards, pretty cheap spots to buy. Excited about them. Cameron Ward, this is also like very under the radar. Like, don't spend a lot of money on this, but maybe it works out. He transferred from an FCS school and won like FCS Player of the Year to Washington State University last year. He started there last year. They beat Wisconsin last year, and he should be a pretty quality NCAA player this year. Right now, he's a 4th round projection for the 2024 draft. Watching his highlights, look pretty good. Should be pretty affordable. So he's a fun under the radar one. This is possibly what I'm most excited about. This is also a Texas connection. Arterio Morris. He was like a top, like very, elite point guard prospect to Texas last year. Didn't play a whole lot, but then he's transferring to Kansas this year. And you know how Bill Self does with guards, Nate. He's going to be a sophomore there. I saw he's projected to be in their starting lineup this upcoming season. And I'm excited about a guard.
And he gets to learn from DeJuan Harris.
Exactly. I'm very excited about a elite guard prospect. Was DeJuan Harris even a top guard prospect? Or like Devontae Graham?
Recruit, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Either way, Bill Self's known for taking these guards and turning them into something.
Yeah. Ryan is here.
I do see that. Ryan is in the building, so we are going to welcome Ryan in here. Of course, everyone make sure to check out the auction on eBay, see the spots coming up, but we are here to talk with Ryan. Ryan, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. What's going on, fellas?
Not much. You're following up Jimmy, and Jimmy was just hyping up his Kentucky guys like crazy. So I know that you're a Buckeye. We have lost to the Buckeyes for like a million straight years, so Buckeyes are not my favorite. But I'll stomach 15 minutes of talking about Buckeyes with you for the sake of having you here. So I really appreciate you taking the time. Sure. And how are you feeling about this set, first of all? Bowman Inception University and Bowman Chrome basketball coming out here in the near future. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I haven't looked a lot at the checklist outside of your auctions. I was browsing this morning, going through like the list of the auctions. I think I'm a high bidder on a few right now.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for 5 cases, I'm like, this sounds like fun. This is a lot of boxes. I think it's like, 16 box cases?
Yeah, it's a ton of boxes. It's 80 boxes, 160 autos. Nate's going to have a fun time on Friday.
So I'm like, we'll see. So I've only looked at it a little bit. Obviously, the 2 big headliners, right? First-time signers with Victor and Caitlin Clark. I think that alone is, a big draw, yet alone the fact that you have so many of the 2023 guys for football in there, like Stroud, like Young, like, a lot of those guys. I saw Bijan's in it. Michael Mayer's in it. I think Richardson and Levis are both in it. So you obviously have a huge draw there. And then I think there's some big basketball guys as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Brandon Miller's in it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Scoot Henderson's in it. I mean, it's really the best of both worlds. Plus you get the top college female athlete. Like that's a pretty big draw there. So I expect the product to do well. I feel like it's coming out of the gate at a really affordable price. I think you go back to like COVID times and you see a product like this come out where you have one of the, what they're saying is the greatest basketball prospect of all time. I think it's a little offensive to LeBron, but you talk about a prospect like that. You talk about someone that has the following and the buzz like Caitlin Clark does. And then this really big QB class with 4 QBs right there, plus Brandon Miller, plus Scoot Henry. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of potential in this. Now, I'm sure those guys are not going to fall every box. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a fun rip.
Yeah, and Ryan, that's not even to mention Cade Klubnik, who's one of the top quarterbacks in college right now.
That's my guy.
Is he?
Yeah, Cade. I'll see if I can pull it up. I had a tweet last year right before the start of the season. I said, hey, man, this guy's going to be a future Heisman finalist. He's going to take DJ's job. Cade's he's from Texas. He's not far from where Mahomes is from. He's the real deal. I have a friend of a friend who has been involved with Clemson a little bit, who's telling me about him a long time ago, and I did a little research before he ever was on campus. That kid's the real deal, man. He's going to be really, really good.
I know he's one of Nate's top guys in this set. Like that's what I think this set's awesome, because you got these guys who can go for Heismans, who will build their legacy in college leading up to the pros. Who've never seen that before over the last few years.
And speaking of Heisman, we've talked about all these guys, yet we overlooked the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, Caleb Williams, who's also in the set. I mean, I don't know if we've had – I can't think of the last time we had a set with this much hype in terms of prospects around it. I mean, that's a lot of big names alone. I mean, that's 10 major names with Richardson, Levis, Stroud, Young, Caleb Williams, Caitlin Clark, Victor. I mean, that's 7 alone. You throw in Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, then you go to where? Bijan Robinson, Klubnik. I mean, you get to 10 pretty easily. I mean, if Cade Klubnik or Bijan's the worst, is the guy you pull and he's the 10th best guy, darn, I can think of a lot worse guys to pull.
Yeah, and that's not even bringing up like Blake Corum or Smith and Jigba, your guy, Bo Nix. Like Bo Nix is going to be a first-round pick next year too.
You mentioned Corum. I do not like Michigan. I loathe Michigan. But you look at it, JJ McCarthy is going to go into the season as one of the top 5 Heisman Heisman candidates going into the season. Again, I hate Michigan. Him and Corum will be really high on the Heisman Trophy list. They're going to likely be preseason 2 or 3. Those guys are in it too. Again, I don't like them. So yeah, I mean, you have Jackson. I mean, I know he didn't play a lot last year, but he's going to be good. Zach Harrison was a 5-star D end at some point going to Atlanta. Like there's a lot of potential. Bryce Sensabaugh, right? 1-year kid from, Ohio, goes to Ohio State. He's definitely a raw talent. Like he's the real deal. One of the assistant coaches is a customer of ours. So I've heard a lot about Bryce, but yeah, I mean, this set is very intriguing. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully, I'll be able to, rip some this weekend.
Yeah, and you brought the. Go ahead.
Wait, real quick question, Ryan. What do you think happens with this set or Bowman University when guys like you were mentioning do end up being front runners for Heisman next year in preseason stuff? You think that these cards will hit a bump at that point, or do you think people just, I don't know?
I mean, being relevant always has an impact on cards, right? I mean, anytime anybody's in the news for typically a good reason, it typically leads to increase in demand in their stuff. So I would definitely anticipate there being some bump on it. Michigan comes out and goes 10-0 to start with an Ohio State matchup looming at home in the Big House, Thanksgiving weekend. I can't imagine Blake Corum and JJ McCarthy are not a huge reason for that success. So yeah, I have reason to believe that should something like that happen, Klubnik comes out and lights the world on fire. There's a lot of people that don't know who he is. I mean, he was kind of under the radar because Clemson wasn't as good as they've been in the years past with, Watson and Tosh Boyd, some of those guys. But yeah, I think there's a lot of possibility there. I think the interesting thing, and I've kind of talked about this before, is with where we are in NIL in cards now, right? What happens when you play this out through time where Quinn Ewers is the perfect example. He was really the beginning of the NIL stuff where Quinn Ewers has a card before he plays. He has cards when he plays, and then he gets drafted. By the time Quinn Ewers is drafted, how many autographs Quinn Ewers going to sign by the time he's drafted in the NFL? He's going to be I think at one point, if he figures it out, he'll be a high pick, super, super talented kid. What happens when Quinn figures it out and goes pro? How many autographs is he going to sign by then? 25, 35, 50,000 autographs? He's going to have a bunch. And then he's going to get drafted and have collegiate products then, right? Your select draft picks, your Chronicles draft picks, your NT collegiate, your flawless collegiate, you go through the list of stuff, and there's a lot. So what maintains value over the course of time? First card they ever signed? It used to be Leaf All-American. They got rid of that. They don't do that anymore. Is it Leaf Metal? Is it Leaf XRC? Is it Bowman? Is it this Bowman Inception? Is it Bowman University Chrome? What is it, right? Because NIL is really changing the landscaping of cards with allowing these guys. I think it's fun. Like if Marvin Harrison Jr. had more licensed trading cards, I would be his number 1 collector. The dude's going to be amazing.
I wish he was in this set. I really wish he was.
I would collect him like crazy. I have a few of them, and they're from like True Creator. So I think that's going to be the interesting play in time is what will settle as the card of demand. Obviously, Prism and those things, whenever that happens, will be of demand. But what will maintain interest and rise as players succeed down the road with multiple years of rookie cards pre-NFL?
I agree, for sure. And I think that what's interesting here is that there's opportunities, and at least this set specifically we haven't seen before. And I know you're a massive Ohio State collector. Like, I've seen so many of those cards you have either on Instagram or in your shop, and there's just a ton. How many of the patches that you have, from past Panini products were either player worn or even I don't think anywhere game worn at that. In this set, I feel like that they might be making some that are either, player worn or game worn. If there were game worn patch autos of CJ Stroud in this, what would that do for you as an Ohio State collector? Like, you see that? Is that something like, holy crap, I need that? Is that like not that cool?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely own some game worn stuff from Ohio State now, from like patch autos and stuff. If you look at some of the collegiate stuff from like Flawless, some of those cards are actually game worn. I literally almost had one here. I think it's over here. I have a Braxton I just picked up recently, game worn patch auto from Flawless. Game worn is obviously like the peak card for like a college collector. Yeah. I mean, I would be lying to say that I don't have interest in like game used patch autos. You just don't see that stuff very often. Like you guys, I think you're kind of getting at there. Like it's not like we have a plethora of options to pick from with, Ohio State game worn collegiate patch autos or any really game worn stuff. It's kind of an anomaly these days to find something that is game worn. I mean, outside of 1 or 2 or 3, maybe 4 sets, like it seems like it's pretty slim pickings to actually see game worn stuff.
Seriously. And then tell me about this. I'm just making sure I have the names right here.
Mhm.
So a big chase in this is going to be the dual autograph relic set. Have you looked at the checklist at all for what Ohio State has in the dual autograph relic set?
No.
So there's a duel of CJ Stroud and Jackson Smith and Jigba. They have them numbered out. 99 is like the highest number you can get. Lowest number being a foil fractor. It says manufacturer logo 1 of 1. I have no idea what that'll look like. They got reds out of 5. Is like, I don't know how many duels you've had of some of these guys. Is that towards the top of your list from player standpoint?
Yeah, I wish I would have had it on me, but there was one that Onyx created. It was shown before the National last year. It was the CJ Stroud, Jackson Smith, and Jigba dual 101 auto with their Rose Bowl stats on it. I was able to pick that up through a friend. That was probably one of my favorite ones. Was that one. I like the inscriptions kind of almost as much as I like the game use stuff. I think that's fun. Especially when it's like something like that, when it's like it's a specific point in time where it's like, hey, this is what we did on the Rose Bowl. Jackson had, I think, like 346 yards. So something like that is super cool. We ripped some switching gears here. We ripped some Bowman University. This kid, I don't know much about him, but like this Nico kid, this is the kid from West Virginia.
Yeah.
This kid has a little bit of demand on him. It was kind of like, for me, it was like Jordan Travis. Like this kid and Jordan Travis, I didn't know a lot about, but Jordan Travis obviously more so than, Nico. But it looks like there's a little bit of demand around these two, and I didn't really know a lot about him.
Yeah, so Travis, I think, is supposed to be like a second round or second day pick next year for quarterback. And he is top 10 QBR at Florida State. But Nico, I know, is battling right now for the starting role for this upcoming year at West Virginia. But he was one of the top, 30 quarterback recruits, I think, in the country last year. So, yeah, you're right. There is definitely some demand around him.
I'm winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Some of these end in 5 days. It looks like I'm a high bid on a lot of your second batch of this. It looks like you guys are doing another one.
Yeah, we got another one.
I'm high bidding a couple Buckeyes and end a little bit, and then I've got a few of these on the watch list. Can't give away too many details. Don't want to don't want to let too many secrets out here. But I am currently watching the Caitlin Clark one. It might get weird there. It's $710, an hour and 24 minutes.
I think they'll probably go over 1,000, but man, her autographs are gonna be so hot out of the gate because this is the first time we've seen, a major, I'd say, women's basketball card release in modern times. Of course, some of those Rittenhouse cards like Candace Parker sell pretty well, Brianna Stewart sell pretty well, but not since the COVID boom at all. Has there been like a big women's college or women's card release, I'd say, for basketball?
Yeah, especially when they're still in college.
And then last question I have for you, Ryan, is if you could pick a dual auto of either CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, or CJ Stroud and Caleb Williams, which one would you rather have? To be honest, they do not have the Caleb Williams and CJ Stroud in the set, but if they did, which one would you rather have for like long term?
Caleb.
You rather have Caleb in the card? Do you think he's going to be bigger than all three or all of them together? Not combined, but each individual.
I mean, he's definitely bigger than Bryce Young. I mean, Bryce Young's built like me. He's 5'10", $175. Like,
I meant perception and career.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I'm just being facetious. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Caleb will be a star. I like CJ a lot. I think CJ's got the mechanics. I think he's a good dude. But yeah, I mean, Bryce has got a lot of talent, man. But that's the smallest quarterback ever measured at the combine. Like there's not a lot of guys ever historically that have been good in under 6 foot.
Drew Brees is like the only, and Russell Wilson probably the only two names I've ever
Hey,
had.
Doug Flutie, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it happens, but the odds are, there was a lot of buzz around another, Johnny Manziel won a Heisman Trophy and was short, and Johnny Manziel is a little bit more.
Kyler Murray kind of sucks.
Had some character flaws that we don't see in Bryce Young. He clearly looks like a leader and a good guy, but
Bryce sounds like a genius too. It sounds like he had one of the highest test scores ever at the combine.
Yeah. At 175 pounds, I mean, you can only get hit so many times by Micah Parsons and some of these guys before like you get injured. I mean, look what happened with Tua. Like Tua's not a very big guy, and he's 6'1", 6'2". Like he's bigger than Bryce Young by 3 or 4 inches. So yeah, to me, it's I'm definitely taking the Caleb Williams. I see Manny though. He said rather have Marvin. I would have thought Marvin Harrison Jr. would have been this. Agreed. Marvin definitely hasn't signed a lot, but I'd rather have Marvin and CJ, I think, than
that's the top.
Caleb. Yeah, Marvin is like, I mean, honestly, like it sucks to say it, but CJ didn't beat Michigan. He didn't win a national championship. He didn't win a Big Ten title. He's great. He's an awesome quarterback, and Ohio State needs somebody that is like really, really good. Long term, we need to kind of break the narrative. So I'm hoping it's Fields or Stroud. But in terms of like how I build my PC, a lot of it's based on like some of the memories I have. And I got the Rose Bowl with Jackson. That's really cool. And Jackson's game was awesome. But, you didn't get it really a lot from TJ. He was a great guy, great leader. I think he'll be a great pro. But beating Michigan, winning Big Ten titles and national championships has to matter. JT Barrett was a 3-time captain, national champion, multi-time Big Ten winner, playoff appearances, all sorts of things. TJ's great. At the end of the day, it comes down to winning at Ohio State, not throwing a lot of touchdowns, and I think it'll matter. So we'll see, but I'm not I'm definitely not dying to pick up CJ Stroud stuff. I have some really cool stuff, like some first year red Bowman auto, like some cool stuff. But I'm not dying to pick it up per se, like I might have been in the past. I think I'll probably favor Jackson more. And then when Marvin comes out, it'll be Marvin for sure. Like that will be the guy that I go after.
I'd say those two players are more sure bets to be very successful in NFL careers. Just looking at, I mean, Garrett Wilson's awesome for the Jets right now.
Yeah. I mean,
and he had trash throwing to him. He had garbage throwing to him.
Yep. Imagine what Aaron Rodgers can do.
We'll see. We'll see.
Throw ducks. I can imagine.
Hey, Brian, last thing before you go, just what's the impact of Bowman University products inside the shop? Obviously, you're in Columbus. You're right there where the college town is. Like, how big is the impact?
Yeah, I mean, Bowman Chrome did a lot better than Bowman University right out of the gate. Definitely sold a lot more Chrome than we did Bowman's Best initially. But yeah, being 15 minutes from Columbus, we're 3.5 hours from Ann Arbor, we're 3 hours or less from the Steelers, Browns, Bengals, and Colts. Like, we're really in like the heart of football. So for us, it's just it sells, man. Like, again, Ohio State's the biggest thing here. The Jackets are the only pro team in Columbus. So to be this close to one of the biggest universities in the country, it's pretty cool. We definitely enjoy our college stuff.
Love it. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your time. I really appreciate it for you coming on here and sharing things about Ohio State. I hope we can beat you one of these years, man. When we do, you'll hear from me.
I'm not looking forward to that day.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan, and we'll talk to you later.
Of course. Good luck.
Bye.
I couldn't help but notice the biggest difference between you and Ryan was that for him, no championship means failure of a season, whereas for a Badgers fan, just making it to the tournament or making it to a Rose Bowl is like cream of the crop,
We're talking to a guy who literally is Kansas football stinks. So you're not even in the same room as Ryan and I when it comes to football discussion.
Hey, made a bowl game this year. You made a bowl game this year. Neither of them were big. So
that's like me saying, well, Chelsea and Arsenal finished with the same amount of trophies this season, so we had the same season.
No, because we're going to Champions League, baby.
I'm glad you made that counterpoint because that's the correct counterpoint to make. Kayla says, oh, not that one. It was, if you each had to collect one person not from your school in this set, who would it be? Wait for that because that will be coming up here in a little bit. So have no fear. We will be discussing that. Of course, there are some items, some players still ending right now. Every minute there's a new player ending. Lauren Betts is transferring to UCLA from Stanford. She's joining Kiki Rice at UCLA. Her card is, or her spot's already at 1250 right now.
One second, I definitely thought I was looking down, and I thought you were saying she's joining the show here. I'm like, what?
No.
Joining a different school.
No. Jordan, that's very nice of you to say. And yeah, Jimmy and Ryan joining this has been quite legendary tonight. I'm very, thankful for them for joining us. It's super nice of them to take their time. They're both extremely busy guys. And we know Manny coming up. Man, that guy now, he is the busiest between having to go into the office now. I know he told me. So Manny, we do appreciate you for joining here in a little bit too. I think you're up in about 15 minutes, but there is some more players to talk about. One of the ones coming up here that is probably the bigger one in the next 30-minute windows. There's a couple big ones, but Trace Jackson Davis was a huge player in India. He's going to be probably a second-round pick in the NBA. He's not going to be a first-round pick most likely, but he was one of the – let's see here. He was 16th in D1 for points per game last year, 21 a game. So he is, from a collector perspective, there's a lot of Indiana fans out there, and even from getting drafted NBA perspective, he's a player to watch upcoming years at $18.50 right now. This one is these two probably right here are two of the most underbid, I guess I'd say, in the auction right now from like a potential perspective. Like there's no doubt that these guys could flame out and not become anything, but they're both extremely cheap right now. $4.25, Tyrese Proctor. He is returning to Duke, and this Duke team is going to be
major disappointment last year, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why it's $4 versus him going to the NBA and being a first-round pick, obviously. But the point is that maybe he figures out this year. But as for Duke, they're returning 4 guys from their starting lineup between Tyrese Proctor, Jeremy Roach, Mark Mitchell, and Kyle Filipkowski. Not sure how to pronounce his name. But those are 4 guys who had the chance to go to the NBA if they performed as well as they could have last year. They didn't. It took Duke like at least 3/4 of the season to figure it out. They won 8 straight games, won the ACC, lost to Tennessee in the tournament. But either way, could be one for potential in college next year. And then also the next player underneath that, Vincent Iwuchukwu. He was now he's a big guy. So like big guys just obviously aren't going to sell as well as wings and guards and forwards that, multifaceted players. But he was a 28th overall recruit in 2022, number 6 center in the class. And I was reading about, him defending the full court and can score the ball at the same time, which is a pretty important measure in the NBA. There's no saying he's going to be a great NBA player, obviously, but just from like a future potential thing, kind of like the whole, reason about first Bowman's. Nate also talks about guys, throw him in a box and look at him in 2 years. Well, you never know what happens there. Such just an interesting name there. It's quite under. Avery Anderson. So is at 0 bids right now. So if you just want to deal and get in on the break and have fun, I mean, that's the cheapest way to possibly do it. So you go and drop a $1 bid on Avery Anderson right now, ending in 9 minutes. If you do want to get to the auction and don't know how, it's in the description of this video or hit the chat right there. That link I just put in. Kayla says Lauren Betts also made the U23 or U22 USA women's basketball team also. Well, that is big, Kayla. So thank you for sharing that. Ayanna Patterson. She was a McDonald's All-American. I was reading about her high school basketball stats. They were off the chain. Kayla, if you know any more information on Patterson, I think she's at UConn, but she didn't play a whole lot last year. So maybe she'll get some time this year, but she was a McDonald's All-American for women's, and that's an interesting name to track in here. And then 3 more here coming up, and this is closing up until 7:25 p.m. Central Time. So over the next 25 minutes or so, you've got there we go. Jalen Hood Shafino. This is one of the bigger names closing outside of the 8 p.m. Central Time window. So he's not in the power hour, mostly because I didn't get him included in that window by the time I completed the full tier list. But he's going to be a lottery or potential lottery pick this year. Back into the lottery projected right now. Supposedly ESPN saying that he, could have big upside, but will probably be a patient project. So this is also one for maybe a little bit more of the longer term. But he did play Indiana, was a pretty big player for him last year. And there's a reason why he's one of the higher bids here in this closing window right now. And then Jared Bynum, it looks like you can go and get his for $1 right now, too. If you're buying multiple spots, you might as well.
Is that Will's brother?
Huh?
Is that Will's brother?
Will Bynum?
No. Wait, there is Will Bynum, but also Andrew. Andrew Bynum?
I don't think so. This is a guy who played for Providence, and I guess he transferred from Stanford, or he just transferred to Stanford. But he's older guy. He's 24. He's my age. So old.
Number
But
one, I was thinking of Andrew Bynum, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's a Will Bynum as well.
Gabriel, we appreciate you a lot. That means a ton. So thank you. And then you've got, this is one of my, I think, where do I have him? What list do I have him on? I might have him on one of my favorites, like to buy and hold. We can say invest, you can say collect, you can say hold, whatever you want to say. He's at $5.50 right now. He is a high school player in this set, Jared McCain. However, he is a top 10 recruit to Duke. He was number 10 in the ESPN 100 rankings. He's number 2 for his position. The guy is a sniper. He's got a super good shot form, very quick release. I watched some of his highlights, and he played for the USA. I think it was like U19 or U18 team also. But he's at $5.50. Now, he does only have an autograph in the set, so there's no non-autos. So to get a card of him, you would have to hit an autograph in the set. But from like a take a flyer, and he's going to be one of the starting players at Duke next year, one of the top 3-point shooters in the country, most likely. At least from what I was reading, that could turn into nice, nice payoff potentially. If you do hit the card, of course, you got to hit it. And then we've got one more to point out here, I think. Yeah, Jet Howard. Jet Howard is also going to be right around the lottery pick range, potentially between like 14 and 20, I think, in that realm is what I was reading. 6'8", played at Michigan. Says one of the most prolific 3-point shooters in the draft. He can play either wing and either of the wing positions and grow into multiple roles. Nate, this is a year that I know we'd be too good to have like a pick in the 20 range, but like I really wish the Bucks had a pick in the 20 range. How nice would it be to have a big wing who can shoot the 3 ball? Man, that I love it.
I know. Because we don't have a first round pick at all.
No, we don't. We have the very last pick of the draft, actually, 58.
So I know that like it was worth it to get our boy Holiday to win that championship a couple years ago. But man, after watching him this year in the playoffs,
we really need some youth, don't we?
Yeah,
we need some youth bad. So would like to get a player like that, although that's not going to happen. And then let's see here. I think that's about it from pointing out up until 7:25 p.m. ish, because that'll take us through talking to Manny and everything. He'll be coming on in a little bit here. But there was Keyshawn Barthélemy. You can grab him for $1, really $1.50 if you are winning other players. Because it's 50 cents for every combined player in the auction. Kyle Lofton's another name. LJ Cryer, I think, is a pretty good scorer at Baylor, actually. Mike Miles was projected to the Bucks as of ESPN's mock last. The previous mock before the lottery was done yesterday, but he was a good scorer at TCU. And now I think, now that we got through those names, what was the next thing? Oh, this was related to Kayla's question, actually. This is our top 5 players that we would like to collect from this set. And there's 5 players here. So, Kayla, this will mix between players we're a fan of for the college, like Nate with Kansas, and other players. So, Nate, why don't you go first with your top 5 players that you'd like to collect from this set?
Yes, sir. So we got – okay. So she did say from other universities, but –
yeah, but you got some players, don't you?
Yeah, I suppose that is fair. But, of course, I've got Grady Dick, number 1. He was one of the best shooters I've ever seen at Kansas. He was right up there with Ben McLemore as just a absolute pure shooter. And he was doing this. Ben McLemore did it as a redshirt freshman. Grady Dick did it as a true freshman. Stepped in there, shooting 40% from 3 on like 8 threes a game. Just incredible from him. And I'm excited to see where he goes in the draft. Should be close to a top 10 pick. Maybe he doesn't end up being in top 10, but he'll definitely go in the lottery at the very least. And then you got Jalen Wilson, who also Kansas should be a second-round pick. Can score from every level. Good 3-point shooter, good free throw shooter. Can score underneath the basket. The one thing I question is if the underneath the basket scoring is going to stay in the upper levels, as I just don't think he's athletic enough. But he's got a little bit of shiftiness to him where like a guy like Malcolm Brogdon has made his career on that. And I think maybe Jalen Wilson could probably make a career as a decent scoring option in the NBA if he just keeps that craftiness about him.
That's another player I like the Bucks to have, but it won't happen obviously with their draft position.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting. It's just he's not overly athletic, but he just knows how to score.
There's been guys like that though who are really good in college. Josh Hart still gets
Yep.
buckets. You know, like you don't need 20 points a night or you don't need the highlight dunk, but he gets the job done.
No, just if he can come in, play okay defense, and give you 12, 13, sweet. You also have DeJuan Harris Jr. on here, starting point guard for the Kansas Jayhawks, and will be there next year in Kansas. So that's kind of a fun, like, Kansas is supposed to have a really good team next year. You know, you bring in Hunter Dickinson and all those guys. You bring in all the recruits, and all of a sudden you got DeJuan Harris to lead that group. He might be, Aaron, and this is not hyperbole. I'm being dead serious. He is likely the best passer I've ever seen at Kansas.
You had some good players come through there.
I've watched a lot of good point guards play at Kansas over the years, and DeJuan Harris is probably the best passer out of any of them. He's a really good defender too. The problem with him is that the Kansas would do really well at the end of the year when he tried to score more, but he's just not a pure scorer. He's not a very good shooter either. He has a weird hitch in his shot. So it's like, it's probably not going to – he's probably not a NBA player by any means, and he's only 6'1". But as for non-Kansas players, Jaden Reed, who already sold, Packers' second-round pick, going to be a slot receiver. World is torn on him. You go on Twitter, it's either he's the worst pick the Packers have ever had or the best, but the Packers have had success with second-round picks as wide receivers, so I'll take it. And then also Dontavian Wicks, fifth-round wide receiver pick. The Packers have also had success in the later rounds wide receiver-wise, even though he's not the most athletic guy in the world. So I think he ran like a 4.62 40. So we'll see. We'll see on those two guys. But if I was going to collect anybody outside of Kansas, I'd collect those guys and see what happens since the wide receiver room isn't too full right now. Those guys will get opportunities.
Awesome. Kayla drops a comment. I hope someday that they have a subset of changing colors that feature transfer portal players in both uniforms. That'd be extremely interesting. I also would love to see that, Kayla, because now with the whole transfer portal, people are moving all the time. You know, Hunter Dickinson just went to Kansas. Caleb Love, Nate, I don't know if you saw his news right before he went live. It was literally 5 minutes before. He's decommitted from Michigan.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he was I see Manny partying in the studio.
And where's he going to go now?
So there's no news yet on where he's going, but we know it's not Michigan, not in the Big Ten, I hope, unless it's to Wisconsin, which I would party about hard.
So, wait, is a UNC not on the table? Okay. So he can come to Kansas, go get Bill Self, join. See, he wanted to go to Michigan because of Hunter Dickinson, but Hunter Dickinson is gone, so he'll just follow him to Kansas.
Don't worry, we've already heard. I've already heard all the chatter about maybe Kansas. I swear, if they get both Dickinson and Love, like two of the top 10.
Yeah, but we didn't get that Mgapko kid or whatever, however you say his name. He went to Indiana, so
you got plenty of dudes. So just calm down over there. All right, I'm gonna rip off my top 5 players to collect for myself. Right, this has nothing to do with any of you. For myself, in this set, Seth Trimble is my first one. He is from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. That is literally half an hour up the road from me right now.
Money Falls.
What?
Said me no money falls.
Yeah. That he is a freak athlete, dude. He's like I think 6'3", 6'4" guard. Some of those dunks he's put off in high school games is incredible. He was a 6-man role around there at UNC last year off the bench, and should be hopefully slotting into the starting lineup this year at UNC. And I'm extremely excited.
Also,
about him.
Another very disappointing team.
Yeah, they were very disappointing last year. Actually, probably the most disappointing college team of all time.
Yeah,
they're number 1.
Entered the season number 1.
Yeah,
exited it. Not even in the NIT.
Nope.
Yeah, because they declined, but still.
Yeah, they declined that. Like a bunch of bums. Wisconsin took it, and tried to win.
Lost.
Yeah, exactly. JC Latham, I explained about him earlier. Offensive lineman, Alabama. It should be super affordable. As an offensive lineman, one of the only in this list, or the only offensive lineman, which means he's really good. Catholic Memorial from here in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, is where he's from.
My dad used to have a guy that he worked with was the head coach of the girls basketball at Catholic Memorial.
Oh, really?
And they won state like 8 years in a row or something while he was the
That's
coach.
crazy. Well, he took Catholic Memorial to a 13-1 record as a sophomore. Excited about that. And, of course, the reason why I'm picking these two guys as my top 2 players to collect is because get absolutely served. There's no Braylon Allen in this set. There's no Badgers, man. Come on. I mean, Tyler Wall, super senior. Come on.
Braylon Allen, the linebacker?
No, running back.
Who's the linebacker that was really good last year?
Super good Wisconsin linebacker. He's like rated as the top linebacker in college football.
Yeah,
I don't know. I forgot his name. But either way, I just saw his name the other day. Braylon Allen, he did have cards in 2021. The non-licensed university set, really wish he's in here. I'm going to copy Nate. I'm going to go Jaden Reed just because, I mean, any Packers receiver drafted in the second round, we always have success. We see Manny back there.
We're just, helping Manny.
Yeah, we're pumping his ego right now. Bijan Robinson, who's going to be so expensive. His spot's probably going to sell for well over $100 tonight. Really one of the top running back prospects in the last decade. I know you had Saquon Barkley and stuff, but this guy is absolute monster house. Like, it's insane how good he is, as a Texas fan. And then I had whoever the Bucks draft as my fifth one, which obviously we don't know yet. I hope it's someone from this set. I saw in the recent ESPN mock they had be some international person, so he won't be in this set. But if they take Mike Miles Jr. from TCU, who they're projected to take, last month, which means nothing, then I'll pick Mike Miles Jr.
Is Mike Miles Jr. going to turn into Desmond Bain? Because then, sweet. Do it.
That's my hope is that we get Desmond Bain go to TCU? Yeah, he did, right? Okay, yeah, that's my hope is that we basically take Desmond Bain ×2. All right, well, that's enough rambling from the two of us, but those are our 5 players. Let's bring in our guy Manny. What's up, bro?
What's up? How are you guys?
I'm good. I see you rocking your Michigan State stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty pumped about this set. There's a couple Michigan State players. I lost Jaden Reed. Someone outbid me last second. So if you're watching and you outbid me, I will pay you more than what you paid for that spot. I was changing my daughter's diaper as it was ending. I was like, no.
Wait, Manny, are you a Lions fan?
No.
He's a Cowboys fan. Don't forget, he likes Michigan State, the Cowboys, the Red Sox, Chelsea.
Yeah. My family's from – I don't want to hear it from Nate. You're a Kansas fan. So
yeah, but I was born there.
Okay.
Okay, Manny.
You're a cheater.
Hey, I get your Hunter Dickinson stuff out of the way now.
I'm just happy you took him because now I don't have to deal with his nonsense.
I can't stand that guy. My least favorite college athlete ever, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Especially now.
Hunter Dickinson's your least favorite?
Dude, he said some.
You remember Mac McClung?
I don't have anything against Mac McClung. Why?
You weren't in the Big 12. Never mind.
He called Wisconsin fans like scumbags or something like that.
Exactly. Like, what player goes on Instagram Live and starts talking trash to another fan base?
I mean, yeah, I've been to Madison. Checks out.
You've never been to a game.
Madison want to be Milwaukee. That's what I've always said.
It's a nice place. All right, Manny. First of all, before we get into this about the set and everything, just tell us, why are you a Michigan State fan? Just give us the rundown here.
So I was born in Lansing, Michigan. Grew up watching Michigan State. I remember watching TJ Duckett and Jeff Smoker back in the 90s, like early 2000s. We beat Michigan last second. It was probably one of my greatest childhood memories I could remember. And also Mateen Cleaves with Tom Izzo, the national championship that we won against Florida. But going there, and then living in Lansing, my dream was to go there, right? And I ended up going there, got my electrical engineering degree from there. So I'm an alum now. So I have like some connections. I went to school when Jaren Jackson and Miles Bridges were there. So it's kind of special to me. Special place that.
Wait, Manny, when did you graduate?
I graduated in 2016.
Okay, so they must have just got in there then.
Yeah. So
all right,
early years.
Yeah, because I remember watching Miles Bridges when Michigan State came and play at the Kohl Center. Man, he was really good in college. We don't talk about him now, but he was really good in college.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have anything to say about Miles Bridges? Would you like to? Sorry, on the behalf of Michigan.
Well, I got rid of all my cards of Miles Bridges. To be honest with you, I don't support anything that he did. I had so much memorabilia of his. Like game-worn shoes, like socks. I was like all about Miles Bridges. He was like the guy at Michigan State. And also, I guess I went to school at the end too of Denzel Valentine that year, and so I was a big fan of him as well. So
best Bulls pick in the last 20 years.
Well, Tom Izzo teaches. I realize that he's more of a college coach and gets them ready for a college and team ball. And a lot of them don't come out prepared right away to the NBA.
I mean,
alumni.
Is Draymond Green the only one that's been good recently?
Jaren
Or
Jackson Jr.
JJJ, excuse me, other than JJJ.
Though to be fair, I thought Jaren Jackson Jr. when I watched him at Michigan and saw some of the things he did on the court at Michigan as a freshman, I thought
Michigan State. Don't
Michigan
disrespect.
Those
State,
are fighting words. Those are fighting words, Nate.
I was imagining the green and white in my head, but just said Michigan. Watching some of the things Jaren Jackson Jr. did on the court at Michigan State, I've been like a little disappointed it's taken this long to blow up because I thought he was going to be like excellent right out of the gate.
Now he is quite good now. To be
He is, but and he had dealt with injuries, but I wanted like excellence at the age of 20.
He's pretty young though. He was the youngest player drafted that year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and he's like I said, what you said is injuries, right? He's really first couple of years everyone thought he was really injury prone, and he's going to be a defensive player. That's what Tom Izzo breeds is like defensive players.
Now, Manny, this past tournament, I don't remember. Did you guys lose to? No, you beat Marquette, and then you lost the next round, I think.
Yep, we lost to Kansas State.
Yep.
We should just not talk about this last tournament as a collective group,
Yeah.
Well, I have nothing to talk about with that. So, but here's the deal. So I was reading today's way too early top 25 from ESPN. They just released a new article today. They got Duke number 1 because they're returning like a ton of players and bringing in top 10 recruit. Kansas number 2, brought in a ton of transfers and returning some really quality players.
And
then they have Marquette number 3,
Ooh.
which is from Wisconsin. And then they have Michigan State number 4. They got Michigan State number 4 because I hear you guys are returning a lot of players, and you're bringing 2 5-star recruits this year, with one of them being, I think, top 10.
Yeah, he was top 10. He kind of fell back on one of the ratings, like I think 24/7. But we're like top 5 in the nation on the recruiting class. I think it's Tom Izzo's one of his best recruiting class besides like the Jaren Jackson, Cassius Winston, Miles Bridges year.
Hey, so how high are you? What's your end goal this year?
Oh, I'm excited. If we could keep, so we had 2 players, Jaden Akins and AJ Hoggard, went to the NBA combine to test the water. So we need them back. So when they come back, then I'll be a little bit more excited. So I'm a little nervous. We got a center. We got a top. I think he's like top 5 center coming, and that's kind of what killed us last year. And if we're bringing everyone back, we lost. I don't know, Wisconsin guy, Joey Hauser, went to Marquette, lost him to the draft this year. So we need someone to fill his role. And I'm glad we're getting a big center at the, probably, I think a 6'10" center.
Can I temper some expectations here, Manny?
Uh-oh.
As a Kansas fan, I've seen a lot of 5-star centers come through Kansas.
Yeah.
The only one that had a successful freshman year was Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
If you're putting a lot of hopes and dreams on a 5-star freshman center.
Well,
remember, Michigan State is in Kansas.
No, we don't get a lot of 5 stars. I don't know if that was a flex on me and Aaron, but we don't get a lot of 5-star recruits.
It was a flex, but it's also just one thing that Bill Self always gets. He constantly gets 5-star center recruits, and maybe it's just a Bill Self thing, but they don't play much their freshman year, and they're not very good their freshman year, and then they come out and turn into David McCormick leading the team to a championship, even though he was my least favorite Jayhawk for a long time.
Hey, Manny, like a year from now when Michigan State beats Kansas in the Final Four, we're going to revisit this video and say, Nate, you should have never said this. It's all on you.
Exactly.
Hey, do we play each other in the Champions Classic?
We play Duke. You guys play Kentucky. So I'm already upset. I've been upset with you guys since like 2016. You guys took Josh Jackson from us. He was like full on commit to Michigan State, and then last second went to Kansas. And now you took Hunter Dickinson. Like, I consider you guys a rival now.
Oh, they've always been the enemy, Manny. They've always been the enemy.
They're the enemy.
Hey, imagine how much worse it's going to get for you when Kansas actually goes into the Big Ten and then wipes Big Ten schools off the face of the earth week in, week out.
Oh, you guys, imagine how sad you're going to be when Bill Self gets caught with all this allegation and you guys lose all your national championships that you've won recently, and everything's taken away from you guys, and you turn into the football team.
I would be a very sad boy.
I mean, Nate, you'd practically be nothing at that point. I mean, I just laugh at you then. At least that didn't happen to us.
Well, here's the thing. If allegations come down, Bill Self leaving for the NBA, the Bucks wide open coaching position.
This dude's trying to
there's nobody in college basketball that makes better halftime adjustments than Bill Self, and there's nobody in NBA game that makes no adjustments better than Coach Bud. So it'd be like night and day.
It would be. It really would be. All right, Manny, as for this set, so we'll start with the non-Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Are you excited about Wemby's first auto? I mean, you're probably not going to buy one. I'm not going to buy one because it'd be too expensive. But like from like let's go and see what they're selling for. Are you excited?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because they're putting it into a product where it's like college. And I always fight with the Reckless family because I say college, like sports matter. Like I always say, like this matters. We are collector based. We're big in the I would say Midwest. It's in the Southern region, the SEC and the Big Ten are huge, right? So if you could bring Victor into this set, it could potentially bring fans that are just collectors and want to collect, their favorite player from these universities. They're all top picks. I can't believe they got so much talent in this one.
I mean, it's crazy. We were talking about with Ryan, and you go down the list, and there's so many top 5 picks in NFL, NBA, WNBA. We didn't even bring up Aaliyah Boston's name yet. I just saw her spot got some bids in this auction, but Aaliyah Boston's the number 1 WNBA player pick this past year, and she won Player of the Year 2 years ago, and they went undefeated last year, and they won the NCAA championship 2 years ago. Like she's one of the biggest, women's college players to come on in recent years too. Like it's really insane how deep this checklist is, which does bring a lot of names in general. There's 192. Of course, like 50 of them, aren't going to sell for much. One of your guys here is actually ending in 2 minutes. Jackson Kohler. That's the only basketball player that's returning to your team. I think it's in this set, right?
Yep. He's in the set. The only basketball player in the set, I think, on the high bidder so far.
So you better watch that. I don't want to be blamed like your daughter is being blamed.
No,
that's true. Manny just threw his daughter right under the bus instantaneously.
No, it was her. She was kicking me, and I'm like, I'm trying to bid and change the diaper at the same time. I said I was a high bid, and then when it refreshes, I'm like, okay, I won. It says, sorry, you've been outbid. I was like,
oh, that's just the worst.
So,
ultimate pain, man.
Manny, fake card guy. Real card guy lets his child just sit in a dirty diaper, put the bids in.
Nate, that'll be me. I'm not losing this. Tony said, got my 2 Sun Devils. Go Devils. Tony, thank you so much for bidding in the auction. We appreciate you a lot for that. All right. So yeah, Wemby's gonna be a big chase, but then you got all the quarterbacks in football, and you got the upcoming quarterbacks too. This isn't just the ones that were first round and Will Levis this year. You got the Klubnik, the Drew Aller, the Bo Nix, the JJ McCarthy. There's a lot. And then all the basketball talent too that's not even going to be drafted yet. It's a very deep checklist. Are you going to buy any of these singles out there? You're going to see what they're selling for first? Like, I'm excited. Like, I think there's going to be some good deals on the market for them too to start.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you won the Jaden Reed and you're listening and then you hit something in the break, come to me. I'll buy it. The only one I'm still salty about is he's got, like, I heard you guys talking about the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. It's Peyton Thorne, our quarterback. Yeah. He transferred to Auburn, but he's in the set as a Michigan State uniform. So that's the only one I'm avoiding because I was like, I hold Michigan State. If you're not with us, you're against us type thing. So now I'm like, dang it, you left me. Now I'm hurt. And we just lost our number 1 receiver to Florida State like 20 minutes ago.
Hey, can we pause here for 2 seconds? I just got to get a couple bids in on this Jackson Kohler kid. Here.
All right.
He's really trying to screw with you. So now, not to rub any more Michigan in your face, but Jet Howard, Michigan player, is ending in the next minute. He is going to be a first-round NBA pick this year, most prolific three-point shooter, they say, in the draft. And he's only at $15 right now with 1 minute and 15 seconds left. So from like an NBA talent perspective and a good price perspective for 5 cases, that is maybe one to look at if you're just watching here trying to snag something. I think he does just have an autograph in the set. So there is no non-auto. Yeah, he just has an auto, but still a big player in his own right. Do you get the Kohler?
You get it?
I don't know. It's got the wheel. It's got the wheel.
$750.
Oh, I got it then.
Oh, thank goodness, man. Live gets the Kohler. Nate, you better pull him that 1-of-1 auto on Friday.
Yeah,
hey, that's my only hope and dream.
I'd probably be the only one happy with the Kohler 101 auto.
That's true. Everyone would be like, dude, this stinks.
Yeah.
It could have been
Danny would be
Wendy.
Well, that's the case with every break, right?
Yeah.
Every team, you see a red coming up, and everybody's like, would it be awesome to see it be Jackson Holiday? Sure. But I really want it to be this random dude from the White Sox. Let's go.
You know what's cool about this set, what they should do, and it's kind of like they're starting like to dabble in it a little bit, is they're bringing on high schoolers and into the set. So it kind of reminds me of like, this is Bowman, right? But it's like pre-Bowman. And it would be nice to have prospects for prospects. Does that make sense? Like we get the top 10 recruits of each year into this.
That'd be amazing. Every sport, football, basketball.
Yeah. I would think that'd be cool. It's like when they're at the minor leagues in baseball, but this is like the minor leagues of college. Like,
and I think that's where it's going. Where like, they don't have every top recruit in here yet, but I mean, the fact you do have multiple in the top 10 for both, and there are women's recruits here too. Juju Watkins is the number one women's recruit for this upcoming season, going to USC, where Bronny's going to play too. She's massive on Instagram, 250,000 plus followers. Like that is more than a ton of people in this set. Like those are the players that the young, kids and girls who play basketball that they look up to, like, are going to want to collect from this thing. So it's really cool how there is becoming a much more expansive experience with these sets than just he's mad. Leo's mad. Than just the who's going into.
It's okay, Aaron. Nobody cares about the dog in the background.
We love Messi.
Yeah, Messi. That's his formal name.
Yeah. I think like Mikey Williams, if he didn't get into trouble, I think he's in this set.
He is.
So he would be like a huge name coming, I feel like, on this if he wasn't in trouble.
So as long as he doesn't pull another John Morant and do it a second time.
Yeah. Exactly. And now the difference between him and Ja is quite stark, actually, because this is actually like shots fired, investigation going on. So we don't really know what's going to happen here. This is very much more in the legal eye.
It's not just.
No, this was like, I think someone was at his place and he started shooting at the car is what the report read. I'm just stating what the report read. So we don't know everything from it. We don't know if he's going to be playing something or we don't really know what's going to happen there. But the point is Manny, I agree. We have him in tier 2 from the fact that he has like 4 million Instagram followers. He's one of the biggest high school known athletes of all time. And he's sick. Like he's a very good basketball player. So I hope he gets it all figured out because he's going to Memphis, or at least as of right now, he should be. And he would easily be in the first tier of the set if he didn't have the legal, stuff going on. Then the autographs would be very big. So we'll see what happens there. But Manny, any last thing to leave the audience with here? What are you most excited about for the upcoming college season other than your basketball team, football wise? Anything you're excited about football wise?
Well, it's kind of depressing that we lost our quarterback 1 and wide receiver 1, but I think hopefully our backups are pretty decent. We have a 4-star Kaden Hauser that's potentially might start, and we also have Noah Kim. I don't know if we're gonna be like the recent years where we're competing with Ohio State or Michigan, not the last 2, but prior to that. But I think we're gonna beat Michigan. That's kind of like, I know Nate was saying it with Wisconsin, just winning and being happy, top tier at Rose Bowl. That's kind of where Michigan State is. I just want to beat Michigan. Just let me beat Michigan and I'll be happy.
Well, that'd be a big upset, and you really spoil their season if you did that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're probably going to be favored to win the title or at least be a top 3 team in college this year. Like, they're loaded.
Mm-hmm. I'm always the fan that never thinks that they're that great. They just happen to squeeze by, and I get mad at Ryan's team, Ohio State, because the last couple of years they haven't been able to do it because Michigan's been it seems like they've been setting their team up to beat Ohio State, and Ohio State's been looking at national championship, which kind of screwed them the last 2 years. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we win. I want to go to a game with you guys to the Wisconsin Michigan State, either football or basketball.
We know Nate probably won't be there, but Manny, I'll be here. So if you want to come with me, you drive up the road and we'll talk about when that happens. I haven't looked at the schedule yet.
Hey, if anybody wants to go to a Gonzaga Michigan State game, if that ever happens, or a Gonzaga Wisconsin game.
Yeah, Drew Timmy's in this too. Shout out Gonzaga.
Old.
Yeah, no, Drew Timme will be a big name in the set. Obviously not like insane NBA player perspective, but like one of the best March Madness players of all time.
I know plenty of people in Spokane that would die for a Drew Timme auto.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Manny, I appreciate you for joining us, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I'm glad you got one spot. Sorry that your daughter interrupted the other.
That's fine. I'm looking at other spots too. I'm trying to take some maybe some Ohio State players. I got some bigger names. Grady. I want Grady because Mock. I'm a Mavs guy, and he's around that area where he might get drafted to the Mavs.
Ooh, Grady Dick with Luca would be fascinating.
So, yeah, him or Anthony Black from Arkansas.
That's a big name. He'll be a top 10 pick also.
Yep. So I'm looking at those two right now. I just ruined it, so I'm not going to be able to get it. But
well, I'll go for it.
Well, I expect both those guys to be pretty expensive. So.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right, Manny.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, bro.
Yep.
Bye, Manny.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Aaron, you should answer this question real quick.
Yeah. You guys plan on combining shipping? Josh and anyone else that are out there? Yes, 100%. Here's how the combined shipping works. You buy 2, 3, 5, 10 players in this auction. Don't pay because we will invoice you. Well, you should pay. Make sure you pay, but don't pay right away because we will invoice you for 50 cents per player on top of the first, it's around $5.75 or so inside the U.S. So you'll pay the $5.75 flat rate and then 50 cents per player. After that, we'll send you that invoice and it'll get combined via that method, and then you'll pay. All payments are due 2 hours before the break on Friday. Please get those in as fast as possible, though. Just want to make sure this break can run smoothly on Friday, release day. We appreciate everyone who is bidding on spots right now, or even just here watching and listening to the commentary. It means a lot. Super excited about this. Jordan heard Mavs, his ears perked up. There he is. But we've got 24 minutes left now until the power hour starts, and there are some pretty big players ending prior to
the power hour start at 5:50.
No, 8 p.m. Oh,
so we have 34 minutes.
Oh yeah, bad math. All right. Well, I mean, technically, it kind of starts at 5:50 your time because there are some good names ending 10 minutes prior to it starting. I'm going to shout out a few of the names coming up here in the next 20 minutes now before it gets to that point.
You do that, and I'm gonna go take a bathroom break.
You take the bathroom break, my guy. Then when Nate gets back, we will both share our top 5 long-term players' excitement level for this set. So a few names coming up. Right now, Mike Miles is just going down at 18 seconds. He's a TCU guy. He scored a lot of points in college. That's a guy who I hope the Bucks might get, but no real future value probably there. Aiden O'Connell is actually in the NFL right now. I believe he's a backup for the Cardinals, which is interesting because Kyler Murray's gotten hurt quite a bit. So he will be with the Cardinals. Who else do we got here coming up? I just need to see where my list is. Okay, next name is Jalen Wilson. Actually, RJ Davis is at $1.25 right now. If you're thinking about, a player that had a big college career, is now returning for, I think it's a 5th year, along with Armando Bacot, both UNC Tar Heels players, and Bacot's also in the set. $3.25. He scores a lot of points in college. There's going to be some collectors out there, in my assumption, looking at UNC Tar Heels if they do have a bounce back season. So not a bad guy to get if you are a UNC fan or you want to get some cards of a nice player. Tyrese Hunter, it declared for the NBA draft. I don't know if he's for sure going into the NBA. He could be one of the ones that goes back and still has his college eligibility to go to Texas. That's definitely possible, but he's an NBA type of talent player. And then I think Jalen Wilson is coming up here pretty soon. There's Jalen Wilson, the one we were talking about from Kansas. He's one of the top Kansas players in the set, one of Nate's favorite players in the set. Will be a early second-round draft pick around that range. Might be an impact player on a team if he can carve out a career. Being a three-point shooter that can do a little bit of scoring. Nate obviously said that he might have some challenges scoring at the rim in the NBA, but we'll see. Jeremy Roach is one of the bigger, I would say, returning players to college basketball this year. His spot's extremely cheap right now at $7.26. He was Duke's second leading scorer, I believe, last year, but behind Kyle Filipkowski, and he is going back to Duke. So Duke will be in the spotlight a lot next year. They will probably be preseason 1 or 2, either in front of Kansas or behind Kansas, and he will be scoring the basketball for them along with the other guys, Mark Mitchell, I think. Mike Mitchell. I think it's Mark. Yeah, Mark Mitchell, and they got Filipkowski and then Jared McCain coming in as well as the recruit. But this is at $7.26 right now. And then you've got Judah Mintz, who's also coming up here. He's gonna be pretty not super expensive, I believe, but he did well as a freshman at Syracuse. He averaged 16 points per game, 5 assists per game. That's pretty nice numbers. And I do believe that he needs to get more efficient before going to the NBA. I looked at his field goal percentages and stuff, and they're not awesome. So we'll see how those project and such. But should be a decent name at Syracuse to go along with J.J. Starling, who's transferring from Notre Dame. So that might be a fun pair together. Here's Kiki Rice. She is one of the top women's players in this set. She had some crazy stats at UCLA women's as a freshman: 12 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game. That's pretty solid numbers. And she's going to be at UCLA for a little bit longer, and we'll see how she does. But $3.25, not bad to get Kiki Rice. And I believe she has a base card and an auto card in the set. So, having the extra card is pretty awesome. Yes, down on the farm, love the prospects. Jumping in on this, we appreciate you, man.
That's so funny. You get a prospect guy in here, you just can't pass up the idea of a prospect. But hey, speaking of down on the farm, his guy is Jefferson Cuero.
Yeah.
Did you see what Jefferson Cuero did yesterday?
No, but he brought up his name pretty early in here. What did he do?
3 home runs.
Really?
Yeah. He's now 20 years old with I forget what his OPS is. I think it might be over 900 now after that experiment, but don't quote me on that because that might be wrong. But
impressive to say the least. And for a Victor Wembanyama update, the spot's currently at 17:25 with 51 minutes to go for all the big chasers out there. Wembanyama autos will be the most sought after cards in the sets.
What are Mikey Williams and the other high school kid, though? Why can't I? Scoot Henderson?
Scoot Henderson is G League Ignite, actually not high school. He's already out of high school, but he is going to be coming up in a little bit. He is in the I typed in Scott. He's also in the Power Hour window. I think his is over 100 right now. It's at 152. And Mikey actually should be up in 2 seconds right now. Him and these are the other 2 big high school chases. So Mikey Williams, we just talked about him extensively, but this is what I got to give Nate some smoke about. Matas Buzelis, number 5 overall recruit in the country. Okay. And you're telling me that he's from Wichita, Kansas, and Kansas couldn't get him. They couldn't get him. Instead, he goes to G League Ignite.
You know what? This has happened before. But here's the thing. The guys that go from potentially choosing Kansas to whether it be New Zealand or the Ignite, they don't go to other schools, right? There's been a couple of guys these last couple of years who's I might go to Kansas. Oh, no, he's going overseas or whatever. So at least they're not choosing Duke. They're not choosing, Kentucky or something over it.
Yeah, true. But he was a McDonald's All-American. They say he's one of the very top prospects for the 2024 NBA mock or draft class. Oops, I just clicked the video. I think I'm not sure if I can pull up the ESPN way too early mock draft here. I'm very curious to see where they have him at. They literally have him as the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. So that would be why his spot is $90 right now, Nate. They have him as the number 1 overall pick. What do you say?
And he's from Wichita.
That's what I said.
You know who else is from Wichita?
Nathan Rodabaugh.
Me.
They got Bronny at number 10 to the Magic.
Dude. Outside of all being from Wichita, what do me, Matus, Barry Sanders, and Gale Sayers have in common?
I don't know.
Just spectacular athletes.
Oh my gosh! Of course, how could I forget the center fielder Nathan Rodabaugh, or right fielder, whatever he was.
Center field. Respect on my leg.
Leon, having some issues with my eBay account. Leon, hopefully you can get those solved here in the very near future, as of course these are closing every minute right now. But yeah, that is easily the biggest name that's closing prior to the 8 p.m. Central Time Power Hour window. It's at 90 right now. This is going to be his first autograph. Maybe he's got let me check really quick. He might have the McDonald's All-American autos as well. Let's see. Can you spell his name? Mata? Yeah. No, I actually don't think he does have McDonald's All-American cards at all. And he doesn't. So this is really going to be his first Topps and licensed card. So it's going to be huge for his cards. Leon does say Topps Chrome, but I didn't see it when I just looked it up there. So that is ending at 755. And then my boy Seth Trimble, who, of course, I will not be bidding on, but he's there with
Trimble's brother.
That's exactly what Jared asked me to when I told him about Seth Trimble. No, do you know what he is? He's do you remember JP Tokido at UNC?
Yeah.
They're
Also
brothers.
from Wisconsin.
They're brothers.
What?
Yeah. There's a step.
But Seth Trimble isn't from Wisconsin, or is?
No, he is. He's Menominee Falls.
Okay. Oh, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. There you go. Isn't that crazy? Oh, I see.
Forgot about JP Tokido. What is he doing nowadays?
Probably playing over in China or something. Israeli basketball league. He's 29.
He's 29 already?
Yeah.
Whoa.
You say that like you're not also almost 29.
Well, yeah, but I just didn't like. You kind of forget how long ago you saw these guys in like college, and it seems like it could be 2 days ago. So in my head, it's like, you know, he was maybe 24.
I know, right? All right. One more name to point out before we move on to talking about our top 5 players in the set overall that we're excited about long term. So the last thing to point out before, well, this is actually right at 8 p.m., I guess, right when that power hour window starts, is Zach Edey, who won National Player of the Year 7'3" or 7'2" center. He is testing the NBA waters in the combine, but he still could go back to Purdue. So I think these are right around like at end of the first round, early second round pick if he were to go to the NBA draft. So we'll see what happens. He's just 20 years old still. But he's another name to watch out for if you're a huge Purdue fan. But National Player of the Year, obviously they got eliminated in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Jalen Wilson is ending here in 9 minutes. Jalen Wilson.
Yeah. I covered him when you were on your bathroom break.
Oh man.
Without you. I didn't need to get a big head and start pumping it up at all.
That's fair.
All right, Nate. Top 5 names for you in this set overall, like any player, long term, just excitement level, everything. Like it has nothing to do with who you necessarily going to be spending money on or whatever it is.
Okay, to not be a coward, I chose one of Victor Wembanyama or Tyler Taylor home run, Victor Wembanyama or Caitlin Clark, because I didn't want to choose both of them, as that would be obvious. You know, it's obvious that those would be the top 2 people you're excited about. So I chose Victor, if only because I heard some rumors that they think he might be 7'5", 7'6".
Yeah, they're calling him 7'5" now. I thought he was like 7'3".
He's 7'4". So he's taller than what we expect. He still has the handles. He still has the shooting. But how many really, really tall guys have had super successful careers?
Yeah, not many, at least longevity. Wise.
And so, like, I'm fascinated by him because from a talent standpoint, yeah, it's undeniable. From if I draft him number 1 and he plays for 6 seasons, of which half of them are injured, all of a sudden it's like, we had better win a championship in 3 of those healthy seasons type of thing. So I am fascinated by that. So he's obviously number 1. Caleb Williams. I chose Caleb Williams, Cade Klubnik, and Bo Nix, all for the same reason. They're all highly touted quarterbacks, Heisman awards for Caleb, and they're all playing in college this year, which goes back to the prospect thing where they don't have to perform in professional sports to up their prices on these cards. They can perform in college, or even just, get their names on preseason lists here or there, and people will get excited without even having to play. And you could probably, make some money type of thing there. So those are the 3 other guys, Cade, Bo, and Caleb. And then my last one is Bijan Robinson. And that is mainly because the Falcons for a long time have always had stud running backs. Year in and year out, the Falcons have had pretty good running backs. They like to have good running backs. And Bijan Robinson, one of the best in a while. And they're going to need, Desmond Ritter's going to need some help, and he's going to need some protection. And I think Robinson is going to provide that. And they're going to ride Robinson as the protection or security blanket for Desmond Ridder. And so that has me excited to see, what these cards could do, since it will be a while, as we know, until his college or his NFL stuff is out.
Yeah, I definitely think you could capitalize on some early season success for him. I think he's going to be a first round fantasy draft pick. I heard some people try to make a case. I heard some people try to make a case for the number 1 overall pick right away as a rookie. And as those lists come out, you already know that people are going to get excited about him for sure. People
always overpay for rookies. So if there is a chance that he's a first round pick instantaneously, there's going to be plenty of leagues where somebody, if you can only overpay 1 round, it's going to be at the top of the round, right?
Yeah. All All right. As for my 5 names on here, so I actually looked at Nate's list and I said, yeah, we can't both pick Wemby, and just how he went, I can't pick both Wemby and Clark. I took Caitlin Clark, and this one's easy for me and for everyone, I'd say, because when I think about Stephen Curry revolutionized the way that basketball is played, the way that fans watch the game and enjoy the game, the way that kids watch and enjoy the game. I think that this is the exact same situation, but in women's basketball. And Caitlin Clark brought more excitement to the women's game than I've ever seen. And I, as a freshman in college at Wisconsin, I played against the women's team on their practice team. So I have tremendous respect for women's college basketball. These girls were way stronger than me. I got bullied by some of these girls in the post. Now I had some fun scoring, of course, shooting and stuff with the height, but great respect for them. And Caitlin Clark is just insane. I'm sure she'll be the top overall pick in the WNBA draft next year. But the biggest thing about her is that Iowa fan base is rabid for her, just like everyone around the country now, to where I think that these Iowa cards of hers, Nate, some people I saw in comments oh, but when she gets her WNBA card, this. I don't think it'll matter.
I think people will be more interested in Iowa card. Not to be rude, but how many people do you know that care about the WNBA?
Yeah, the WNBA season I think starts today or tomorrow or somewhere really close to right now. But millions of people watch that game against South Carolina.
Yeah,
and watch the game against LSU.
There are a lot of people that are fans of Iowa, just specifically Iowa, that would rather have her card in an Iowa jersey than a WNBA jersey.
Yep, and that's exactly where I'm coming from with this. I think this will be her biggest card, along with the Bowman Chrome Auto. So there will be multiple. I think both of them will be very big. Nick Singleton's number 3 for me. This is all about the runway thing. Sorry, I skipped Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is actually, along with Caitlin Clark, 1A, 1B. Obviously, massive prospect. He will be talked about this entire next season. He probably should win back-to-back Heisman's. Number 1 overall pick. It'll be major Caleb Williams hype time. Come next year. So he's way up there. And I want to pick the same guy because I just had to. Nick Singleton, I talked about him earlier, that Penn State running back, lots of runway to gain attraction, to gain prospect list, all that stuff. Really talented, it seems. And Penn State produces some good running backs for sure. Miles Sanders, Saquon Barkley seems to be in the long line, was the number 1 recruit in this draft. Jared McCain, his spot already ended, but I'm excited about him and his 3-point shooting at Duke. I don't think that he is going to be a surefire thing in here. So I know Nate's got a couple of these surefire NFL prospects. That's just a more of a flyer guy, but I wasn't going to put him under the radar because he's a top 10 recruit in high school and going to Duke. So that he wouldn't be an under the radar guy, but he's more of a flyer. Could be a big play, I think. And then I got 3 guys tied here because I just don't know which one's going to come out on top. But Cade Klubnik, who Nate had, obviously Ryan's extremely excited about. Drew Aller, who's the Penn State guy who I know a lot of people are excited about. His cards sell extremely well. And JJ McCarthy. All 3 should be, top quarterbacks in college, but right along with Caleb Williams and Bo Nix, like Nate said. These guys are all younger, or at least Cade and Drew are younger. JJ's probably right up there with Caleb, and I think Bo Nix as the next 2024 picks. Cade and Drew are both 2025 picks, I think. But I think Cade probably could end up being top 5 pick in 2025, maybe Drew Aller too, depending on how his career goes. I don't know enough about him. We'll see there. But those 3 dudes, for the reason that Nate said, lots of runway. I think you want to find guys that have a lot of runway in college. And there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to start to look at these cards differently than they ever did in the past because they never were here in the past. The amount of Saturdays, Nate, over the last 5 years of running slab stocks, they've been what should I post on today during the fall? Oh, wait, there's only college football on. I don't know. But now it's oh, wait, Cade Klubnik just threw for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns. Let's go see how his chromo, his inception are selling for. It's a way different ballgame now. So
True.
I think a lot of that stuff adds up. And Jalen Wilson is ending in the next minute. Nate's one of his top guys in this set. 1 minute and 24 seconds at $34 for 5 cases right now. That's pretty solid value, honestly. And he does have an auto and base card in this set. So plenty of chances to hit his cards between so many boxes. And yes, Wembanyama did not sell yet at 1725 right now in that power hour. starts in 15 minutes. Nate, anything lastly you got to say here before we move into the Power Hour discussion?
I'm just curious to see what this Jalen Wilson goes for, and it's killing me. I want this so bad. I'm not going to bid, but I want it so bad. And if it goes for $34, I will be dead inside that it's not going to me.
I mean, that's under $10 a case right now.
Yeah, and we're talking about one of the better Kansas players, that's been there for the last couple of years.
Yeah, not to mention we'll have a seat in the NBA. We don't know where he's going to get picked, but he'll definitely get picked at the top of the second round around there, and those players can sometimes turn out big. So 22 seconds left on this one. We'll watch it wind down here for Nate and see what it goes for. Let's see if he gets really sad or not. Yeah, 10 seconds left at 34 right now.
I want it.
This man. Oh, it's at 51 now.
Oh,
a little bit less.
more reasonable. And that
52?
is $10 though.
Yeah, right at $10.
That's more reasonable.
Yeah.
That makes me feel less bad about not getting it.
All right, and then Jeremy Roach is actually up next. So that's that Duke player that's returning that I think should have some nice buzz at Duke this year. All right, there is a player who doesn't have a bid right now. If anyone wants to snag him to add it to your combined shipping spot, you might as well throw $1 down. Mekhi Ashton Langford. Let's look and see who Mekhi Ashton Langford is. He's 24 years old. He has 2 cards in the set, both a base card and an autograph. Boston College. Yeah, long-term potential, probably not there at all. But for $1, you hit an autograph or 2, why not? You might not hit an autograph or 2 also, but we'll see. All right, jumping into this Power Hour discussion. I mean, we're 15 minutes away from the biggest hour of this auction going down. The first player that's ending, of course, is Zach Edey, then Aaliyah Boston, and then Anthony Black. Now, before, we'll watch each player go down and we'll commentate a little bit on each. I looked. This was like 3 hours ago. I cannot guarantee that these players are going to be at like low bids to maybe what their value should be at. But from what I was watching, these are players that I think, of course, in my opinion, it doesn't mean you have to place a bid. This doesn't mean anything. You can do what you want. But just from like a standpoint of like, wow, that seems quite low for said player. And I'll look them up. Anthony Richardson's one. Everyone knows who he is. Drafted to the Colts. He's at 91 right now. Will Levis, now keep in mind, there's a lot of Kentucky fans out there, one being Jimmy. Will Levis is at like 300, I think, right now in the 5K break. Anthony Richardson, who was drafted number 4 overall to the Colts, will get the reins right away. I hear there's a ton of excitement of Indianapolis for him. Now, I'm excited for him, too, to see what he does. I think he's going to hopefully prove some people wrong with the arm, but tremendous athlete is at 91. That seems extremely low for a 5K break, of course, in my opinion. Brandon Miller, $56 right now. He will be – Nate, I don't know how you think about this. I think Brandon Miller will for sure be the number 2 pick in this draft. The Hornets do not need another dynamic guard on their team. They don't need Scoot. They could really benefit from having like a 6'9" wing like Brandon Miller to go along with LaMelo. 56 for number 2 overall draft pick in the NBA. Not bad at all right now. That's ending at 8:05 p.m. Next up is Blake Corum. He's at 37. This is one of the top running backs in college football right now. Like Nick Singleton, I think is like more of a 2-year thing. Blake Corum, like right now, one of the top running backs in college football. Ryan was talking about him. Massive fan base at Michigan. He's at 37. Even Bryce Young at 133 seems tremendously undervalued compared to Will Levis. You've got and CJ Stroud's also at 250. So Bryce Young at 133. Like his Bowman's best.
Do you think
insert auto number out of 99?
With the fact that he's a Panther.
I don't think so because I just watched his Bowman's best auto number out of 99 sell for $200 yesterday. Like an insert auto. Like I think his Inception patch autos will destroy that. So I think there's plenty of meat on the bone with Bryce Young. Bo Nix, he was at like 22. He should be a first-round pick next year. He will be in the top 5 Heisman preseason rankings. He's at 2250 right now. That's probably one of the bigger deals in the Power Hour window. This is a super interesting name, and I don't know if a lot of people maybe know or follow him or anything like that. He does not have a base card in this set, but he does have an autograph. It's his first license card. It's Hansel Emmanuel. That's a massive name. This is the guy who has one arm and plays Division I basketball for, I forgot what the team was. It's a smaller school. It might be an FCS school, but either way, he has 2 million followers on Instagram. He is one of like the biggest, basketball icons, I'd say, of like the social media age of basketball. In the last year, he's at $10 right now. I imagine his autographs will sell quite well. He's actually transferring from
Western State Demons.
Yeah, so he's transferring somewhere else. So I saw he's entering the portal. If he ends up on a bigger team from like a fan base wise, I don't know where he could go. That could be interesting for sure.
He's from Dominican.
What?
He's from the Dominican Republic.
I did notice that actually. Jarris Walker is Houston player, but he's going to be a top 5 NBA pick. I think he's projected number 5 right now to the Pistons is the last I saw in this recent mock that came out. So top 5 NBA pick here at 26. Definitely under compared to some of his other classmates. Nick Smith Jr., this is interesting. He's at 40. He was a top 5 recruit for 2022 class. Injured half the college season, was pretty inconsistent once he came back, but he was supposed to be like a top 5 NBA pick. And then he basically, had an inconsistent year, was injured, but decently high potential for lower dollar amount. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba at 128, but Jordan Addison, who was ranked quite highly in the NFL draft, is now in the Vikings. Of course, he's not as good, in my opinion, as Smith and Jigba, but Jackson missed all of last year with a hamstring injury. 31 for wide receivers to be paired next to Justin Jefferson. Maybe get some nice one-on-one coverage, considering Jefferson's one of the top NFL receivers. Seems like a pretty nice
the top.
Yeah, the top NFL receiver seems like a nice deal. Jordan Hawkins is probably the single best dollar for player right now at $9.50. He won the NCAA championship with UConn. He will be a top 15 or so pick upcoming. Let's see what they have him at. They just released the mock today after the lottery. They have him at number 11 to the Magic right now. So he should be a top 15 pick. Really increases draft stock, like for the money. Definitely the best value, I'd say, just looking at it right now. Arterio Morris, I think he's even more expensive than Hawkins, which does make sense to me, although I was really excited about Morris, but Hawkins for sure should be more than Morris. Unless you think about the runway thing I was talking about, then Morris could probably have more excitement at the college level. Bryce Sensabaugh is the Ohio State guy Ryan was talking about. He should be a first-round pick as well. He's at $3.25. Pretty nice deal right there. JJ Starling is transferring to Syracuse, teaming up with Mintz. He's at $11.50. He'll still be in college this year. Ashland Watkins is the one that Nate brought up at South Carolina at $1.25. BJ Ojulari actually was a top 3-round pick, I believe, out of LSU, possibly a defender. He was second round, number 41 overall to the Cardinals linebacker. So he doesn't even have a bid right now. Neither does Bruce Thornton, who is going to be returning to Ohio State. He was a freshman last year, one of their best players last year. So that's an interesting name. And then the guy I talked about earlier, Cameron Ward, interesting name, definitely a flyer. Actually, is on the next page. Mark Mitchell, also at $1, is quite an interesting one. Coming back to Duke, should be one of the top teams in the country, as we've been talking about. $1 seems like a deal on that. And then Cameron Ward should be on here. Where? I'm spelling his name wrong, or I'm missing him. Oh, I see. He probably fell into the next page, the previous page. Yeah, there he is. He's at $5. And then also, I hate to bring his name up, but Hunter Dickinson from what will he do at college this year? Will probably produce a lot of points and rebounds at Kansas this year. So he's a name to definitely watch ending down here. We'll talk about each player and such as the window starts, but I want to point out some that I just saw were quite low on the bid side.
Dude, not to change the subject, but Corbin Burns loaded the bases, no outs, 2 strikeouts and a ground out.
Got out.
That's a real Brewers thing the Cardinals just pulled, loading the bases and getting no runs.
Seriously, man. Got to give a big thank you to Sean in the chat. Swooped Kiki Rice. She has a ton of ceiling and popularity. I like the potential of NCAA women's basketball at the top prospect. Sean, I agree. And Caitlin Clark will only – what?
Did Sean scoop any Kansas players? That's the question.
Oh, does he have a KU hat on?
Sean's my fellow KU fan.
Oh, okay. But I agree. I mean, I think Caitlin Clark is only going to bring more excitement to the women's game, and people will start to learn, more names. Mattis Buzelis is at 140 now. As I said earlier, projected to be the number 1 pick in the 2024 NBA draft, playing with the G League Ignite this upcoming season. That is one of the bigger ones ending here outside of the Power Hour window. Nate, Luis Lara.
Yeah, he's just came out in 2023. Bowman.
Oh, wow.
I was going to say Bowman 2022, but it's 2023. Yeah, he just came out in 2022. Bowman and has a first. So that is a curious name. One thing I'm curious down the farm, if you're still here, do you think he grows into power? Because I feel like I've seen quite a few Brewers prospects recently. Good hit tool, good eye at the plate, run high walk rates, but don't get to their power, and then it doesn't seem like they're getting to their power. Curious what you think. Of course, he is only 18, so there's plenty of time for him to get to power.
Mikey Williams is up in the next 35 seconds. Of course, some legal issues pending. Not sure what his stats will be this upcoming year, but would have been one of the very top players in this product if it wasn't for that. So, it's a flyer if anything, and see what happens, I guess. But that is the big one ending here right now. And then we are now T-minus 4 minutes away from the 8 p.m. Central Time window. I appreciate everyone's been sticking around this whole time. I know we've been live for, this one of our longer YouTube live shows without ripping packs. Of course, sometimes Nate and I have sat here for hours ripping packs, but we're just sitting here talking to each other perspective. Appreciate anyone chilling out. So 35, I'd say sell accordingly for what's going on with him. But, if he gets cleared, I guess, and starts playing, could have been a good one there. You see his comment, Nate, down the farm?
55 hit from both sides. I like that. But yeah, power is wait to see. That's the frustrating thing. A lot of these young guys that the Brewers are showing good eyes at the plate, showing good hit tools. But if you don't have power, you're just not going to sell.
Like Bryce Terrain, that was your big thing on him the whole time.
And then somehow he hit a 104-mile-per-hour grand slam. So
you never know. Every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut. I guess that was that time for him.
It's true.
What do we got here?
Come on.
Oh,
terrible call.
You know who MJ Rice is?
Yeah, Kansas KU recruit.
Yeah, he's transferring to NC State.
Yeah. And him and Ernest
Ernest
is leaving.
Yeah.
Tough scene.
I mean, you can't bring in.
There's a reason they're not on my list.
Yeah, but you also can't bring in a bunch of transfers and expect to keep everyone too, I guess, right?
That's true. I'd rather have Hunter Dickinson for 1 year than,
Ernest Uday or whatever.
Yeah.
He was the top recruit too, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Seth Trimble is ending. I don't know why his name is no longer visible.
Zach Edey, you think he'll go up in price?
So he did. He's actually at 61 now.
Oh.
So he's such an interesting name because absolutely dominated college basketball, every single game. I know they lost in the first round, but it was a 20-14 year or something for him like that. And I know that not every single big guy in the college transfers into a NBA player, but it's interesting to see if he will be actually drafted this year, or if he sticks in the NBA draft process or goes back to school. It's a guy who I just have no idea what to expect, I guess, from at all. There's always those guys, though, that dominate college and then nowhere to be seen in the NBA. Shabazz Napier. But
Diamond Stone.
What you said?
Diamond Stone.
Oh, but he even dominated college, did he?
Yeah, that's true. Jeff Withey. Just thinking about big guys here.
Yeah. Diamond Stone from Milwaukee area, I'm pretty sure.
What'd you say?
I said Diamond Stone's from Milwaukee, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, played at Dominican, same high school as the Antetokounmpo brothers.
Yep. Just drove past it the other day. Stavi says, Nate, for one times case number one, so the case break on Whatnot, there is a pick your team case happening on Whatnot. Is that the only way to watch it live? Stavi, we'll talk about that. Right now, that is the plan, is that the 5 case player break is going to be here on our YouTube channel, and then it'll transition on to Whatnot for the pick your team break. I believe that's the plan right now. If something changes, I'll let you know otherwise. But that is where to buy the spots for the pick your team break. It could end up potentially being on YouTube also, but I can't guarantee that. And the technical side of it just becomes a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. I think I imagine trying to figure out a YouTube and Whatnot stream after doing a YouTube stream would be a little bit of a
well, what would end up happening is you'd have to use just the phone on Whatnot and then also keep it live on YouTube. But that's it. I just don't think that the technicalities or the selling behind it becomes a little bit more difficult too.
Yep.
All right, Zach Edie has got 3 seconds left here.
2,
2, 1. I think it just ended at 61. We'll go back to the main tab because now we have got the main juice of this auction.
Aaliyah Boston.
Stavi, there actually is you can watch it on tape delay on Whatnot. If that was a concern about not being there for the actual live part of it, our past streams do post on Whatnot. But yeah, the first name up is Aaliyah Boston. As we said, number 1 overall pick in the WNBA this year. She won Player of the Year two years ago. Caitlin Clark won it this past season. They went undefeated last year. Yes, they lost to Iowa, but they won the national championship 2 years ago. She is the second biggest women's name in this product behind Caitlin Clark. This is her first cards, and she does have both autos and non-autos in this set, I believe. Let me just confirm. Yeah, she has autos and non-autos. She also has a couple of insert autos, I think, in here too. So very big name in the set, and just ends right there at 103. That might be – no, actually, Buzelis was our first one over 100. So there goes Aaliyah Boston at 100 for the full 5 cases. All right, next up is Anthony Black. Anthony Black is going to be a top 10 NBA pick this year. That's one that Manny brought up. Let me just pull out my spreadsheet here. Get that on the other side. I think he's supposed to – actually, let me just look at this recent mock now. They've got him at 8 to the Wizards. 8 to the Wizards. That Arkansas in this set is pretty huge, honestly. They got AJ Jefferson and Nick Smith Jr. Yeah, I know, but Johnny Davis is there, so it's okay. I'll allow it. 17 seconds left on Anthony Black. Of course, all his bidding is happening on eBay right now. I will post the link once again to the page here in 2 seconds as this one ends. 5, 4, 3, 2, and I just clicked off for a second to grab this link. Anthony Black is gone. 72. Nice. Yep. Anthony Richardson is the next one up. Florida quarterback going to the Colts. Does have patch autographs, I believe, in this set, which I do think are going to be extremely exciting cards. He does have patch autographs. He also has insert autographs, dual autographs as well in this set. So that is going to be one of the top players in the checklist for sure. With 30 seconds left, he's at 97 right now. I think CJ Stroud's at 250. Will Levis, or actually CJ Stroud's at 300. Will Levis, I believe, is quite up there. He's at 320. So Richardson for the money is quite a nice pick compared to the other quarterbacks in the auction right now. He's at 105 now. 8 seconds left.
112.
Yeah, this one's rising pretty fast.
260. Holy poop.
So now that makes more sense compared to like Levis, even though Richardson should probably be worth more, but those Kentucky fans get. But either way, so there you go. Anthony Richardson ends at 260. Who's up next, Nate? Who do we got?
Sorry, I was looking at
Bijan.
You have ending. Bijan
Robinson. 40 seconds left in Bijan.
What do you think? More or less than Anthony Richardson?
I don't know why that link posted so weird. Sorry about double posting. I don't know why I just split up my chat. More or less than who?
More or less than Anthony Richardson.
I think it'll probably end just under. I just think the quarterback position obviously carries a long way. But Texas fans are big collectors, like big spenders, big collectors. At 150 now. Don't give me horns down here on our stream on Bijan.
Horns down, baby.
I can't take that. No, sir. No, sir. We got 4 seconds left on Bijan. It's at 168. 3, 2, 1. Ends at 178. So it does end under the Anthony Richardson. Brandon Miller for the money at 57. Now, I don't know how, his off the court stuff, which he's not.
What's up with these guys and their off the court stuff, man?
I know, right? Now, there's no legal issues pending here at all, I don't think, but he will be number 2 or number 3 overall pick, probably number 2 to the Hornets, and does have a myriad of cards in this set. Actually, just kidding. I take that back. He has 1 insert auto, and he has a base auto and a base card. So he doesn't have as many insert autos as the other guys like CJ Stroud and Jarris Walker's got a bunch of insert autos, but he does have multiple auto cards in the set, and that one is ending in 15 seconds here. And the next up will be Amari Bailey. Bryce Young is still quite at a good value for those who saw the Anthony Richardson sell for 260. You have 57 seconds. This is for 5 cases, everyone. And yes, you will be able to grade some cards if we pull something big. That is possible. Brandon Miller does get up to 131 then. So congrats to whoever got the Brandon Miller spot. Next up, we've got is Amari Bailey. So Amari Bailey is a very interesting name in this list. He's got a non-auto in the set. It's his first card, other than McDonald's All-American, I think. He played with Bronny James at Sierra Canyon. So he was the top recruit out of that team, top-ranked prospect out of the team. Ended up going to UCLA. I think declare for the draft early. I really wish he wasn't going to the draft. I think he is going to go to the draft, even if he gets picked in the second round. If he stayed at UCLA, I think this would have been one of the top, bigger names in the set. I think he still is a big name. Don't get me wrong. He's at 63 right now for a reason. But it would have been nice to see him stay at UCLA. I think that right now, especially with NIL, Nate, I don't really see a need for these players to rush to get second-round pick. Stay there.
I don't know why you would. You can get huge money in NIL deals.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't.
Maybe not huge money at Michigan for NIL deals. Did you see that?
That was Hunter Dickinson complaining about it, I think, right?
He said he got less than 6 figures last year in NIL deals. So he's like, most of these people, if they were offered $10,000 extra for a different job, they'd leave that job in a heartbeat. He's like, how am I any different?
I mean, that's not bad. That's not wrong, right? Bryce Young, 30 seconds left at 227. Anthony Richardson ended at 260. I imagine this does go, somewhere over the 300 range. We'll see what happens here. But Bryce Young has 13 total cards possible in the set, 7 insert autos, 4 different patch autographs. It looks like a base auto, a base card. There is, a lot of chances for Bryce Young cards. You got the dual autos along with Caleb Williams. And of course, as the descriptions say, this dual auto will have to be randomized off live on the stream. But we got 6 seconds left on the Bryce Young, ending here. Top pick in the NFL draft. 3, 2, 1 gets up to, it seems to be 330 for Bryce Young. So that goes just over where Stroud is at right now. Caitlin Clark is coming up very soon here, actually. I didn't realize it's ending that soon. It's at 870 now, but Blake Corum's up first. Blake Corum, top running back, one of the top running backs in college football right now in Michigan, at Michigan. Will be a huge name this year. I imagine there's going to be a lot of excitement around him. But that Caitlin Clark spot's coming up very fast, so we'll quickly pop over to that after this Corum spot. There's a minute 30 left on Caitlin Clark. It's at 870. That is one of the the second biggest spot in this entire set. We'll see what it ends at. I imagine our autos will be quite insane to out of the gate and even going forward. She won't have many cards releasing, at least to start, and we'll see what happens from there. But we got Blake Corum with 13 seconds left at 46. Seems like pretty solid value from has a full year left in college. Get hyped up on the prospect list. It's at 51 now. 2-1 ends at 71, it seems. Ends at 71. All right. Next up is the Caitlin Clark spot. This is one of the 2 biggest spots. I'm quite excited. I think Wembanyama's up in maybe like 14 minutes. So this is one of the 2 biggest ones. We'll see what happens here. It's at 900 right now. This is for a 5-case break. 160 total autographs will be pulled out of these boxes.
960, 990.
It's a 990. I expected it to hit over 1,000.
1,025.
There it goes.
Goodness.
I mean,
It
big,
makes sense.
high rolling set, but her numbered autographs are going to sell for a lot. We got 17 seconds left on the Caitlin Clark spot. Yeah, Sean, I'm extremely excited for this break. Nate's going to have a field day pulling all these autographs. We got 7 seconds left.
There's that many boxes in a case.
I know, 16.
The cases aren't that big. You wouldn't think.
Ends, I think, at 10:25 for Caitlin Clark. So thank you to who bought the Caitlin Clark spot. We appreciate that a lot. That is a huge spot, and we're super excited to see if we can pull you a big Caitlin Clark on release day. 46 seconds left on Bo Nix. Decent value here. One of Nate's favorite players in the set. Plays at Oregon. Really, I'd say, Auburn is big on the scene at Auburn, then really turned his career around at Oregon as he had, I think, a down year at Auburn. But should be a top 5 Heisman candidate this year. 30 seconds left. Next up is Caleb Williams. So there's 2 really big ones back to back. And then there's Cade Klubnik as well. So this is and then Cam Whitmore, who's also going to be a top 10 NBA pick. Pretty big few minutes right now in the auction. We've got 14 seconds left on Bo Nix.
I'd take a chance. 70 for starting QB. for a
No
team
doubt.
that's
He has patch
good.
autos in this. He has patch autos in the set too.
Oh,
And I think
wow.
those are going to be the big chases. Bo Nix ends at 138.
146.
146 actually. Next up is, I would say, the biggest quarterback in the set. This is definitely, the lack of supply.
Who would you rather have, Caleb Williams or any of the other guys from this set?
There's no. You're saying Wembanyama too?
Sorry, quarterback-wise.
No, I mean, it's Caleb Williams. No matter what, it's Caleb Williams. The full runway for a second year in college, to get that back-to-back Heisman, to have not many cards in the market, not many options, there's no doubt it's Caleb Williams. He has patch autos in the set. The only thing about the Caleb Williams spot is he doesn't have the base auto, but he has 7 insert autos, the patch auto, and the base card, which is interesting. He doesn't have a base auto in the set, but there's still plenty of chances to pull those autos. Imagine playing one of the one-of-one die cuts. Do you see those die cuts? So they have one-of-one die cuts for certain players where there's 4 one-of-ones, and it spells out 2023.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty sick. Ends at 385. That is one of the biggest spots that has sold. Thank you to who grabbed Caleb Williams. Next up is Cade Klubnik. From a longer-term perspective, this is quite an exciting one for sure, as you heard Ryan talk about. He also has patch autographs in the set. I do think that's quite a big bonus for any player that does have that.
This ump is trash, JSYK.
I was like, what are you talking about? You're talking about the Brewers game?
Yeah.
Garbage?
Well, he just keeps calling pitches high. I guess he calls them for the Brewers as well, but call him for me, but not for – oh, my goodness. He just called 2 straight balls up out of the zone for strikes. Willie Adames 3-0 count.
We got
2 pitches that you're not going to swing at.
Sorry to interrupt you, Nate, but we got
no, you're good. You're good.
15 seconds left on Cade Klubnik, one of the top prospects in all of college football. Inception autograph, jumbo relics, nameplate book patch autos. It's going to be an exciting name. That was probably one of the better spends for the dollars right there. That's nice. Whoever got that. We got Cam Whitmore up next. Right now, he is projected number 7 to the Pacers. That would be the perfect landing spot for Cam Whitmore. Next to Halle Burton and Benedict Mathurin, you add Whitmore at the wing. That is a fun group of young players. He's out of Villanova. He is rather unseen with them not making the tournament this year. Of course, Jay Wright retiring. They didn't get there. I don't know if do you have disdain for Villanova?
No, I did hear that Jay Wright might.
For the Bucks?
No, 76ers.
That make a lot of sense.
Which is really interesting.
It's right next to where Villanova is.
Yep.
All right, we got 12 seconds left. Whitmore's at $83. Top 10 NBA pick coming up here. Hopefully it's to the Pacers. Good basketball city, too. You got 3 seconds left on Cam Whitmore. Ends at 122. Next up, this is one of, along with Klubnik, the bigger prospects in the set from football standpoint. Years of runway in college. Not going to be in the NFL for a couple of years. He is 19, I think. 19 years old. And it'll be exciting to watch him play this year with, that's for sure. He only played in, I think it was a few games last year, a few pass attempts, but they were 4 touchdowns on 60 pass attempts. He's gonna be fun to watch develop. Daniel says Caleb under 400 is a steal. I hope that they can pull that first patch auto and see what happens for that.
I think we should just pull patch auto of every good player.
Everyone, let's do it. Drew Aller, 46, though. Pretty nice for any Big Ten fan, Penn State fan. Up to, it looks like 71 will be the ending zone for Drew Aller.
Ooh, CJ Stroud next. That's fun.
CJ Stroud's next. So that's a big one. Then we have Hansel and Manuel. We got Grady Dick, Hendon Hooker, Jarris Walker. At 26 is quite a nice price right there. There's a lot of big names coming up here. So if you're on our auction, you can hit the link in the description to get there. If you do want to take part in the player break, 5 cases on release day. Should be an amazing time. I can't wait. I will not be able to be live with Nate. I'm in Wisconsin, but I will actually be in Indianapolis at the time. But I'll definitely have the stream pulled up. I'll be seeing what he's pulling. We got CJ Stroud with 22 seconds left. Man, I'm okay. I hate Ohio State, of course. We always get beat.
Of course,
I can respect those players. A Stroud and Smith and Jigba dual relic auto would be awesome. And the dual autos are patch autos, by the way. I forgot to say that. They're dual patch autos.
That's fun.
3, 2, 1. CJ Stroud sits at 305. That was already, I'd say, pretty much right where it's going to be based on the Bryce Young and such. Hansel and Manuel's at 40 right now. Just autographs in this set. I really hope that we can hit one of those. I think this is a super cool card. Definitely one of the biggest social media stars and icons of this set. He's got the 1 base auto, no base card in the set. But at 40, I mean, to hit one of his autos would be pretty cool. Yes, Matt says, what day and time is the break? Is it going to be live here on YouTube? Yep, Matt, exactly right here where you're watching. It will start at 2 p.m. Eastern time, but you can watch back the break at any time. You don't have to be there live. And if you actually look in the description of these, each player, it actually says it, right here. YouTube /Slack Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That it'll be right here where you're watching right now. We actually have the stream scheduled. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can just, save the link or come back and it'll be right there whenever you get the chance. And don't forget, everyone, that we will be combining shipping on anyone who buys multiple spots. Hansel is going to end at 76, it looks like. That's an interesting one. I can't wait to see what happens there.
Well, Grady Dick.
Here we go. Nate, your top guy in the set.
Aaron.
No, restrain yourself.
This is killing me. I want it so bad.
If I had to watch a Braylon Allen spot selling here, I'd be like just devastated.
Somebody, Manny, are you still here? Manny, buy this spot for me.
He's like, Nate's like, I need a 5-month early birthday gift. Yeah, 28 seconds left on Grady Dick. I did just see he was projected to go to the Jazz today at number 9. Not picked today, but obviously picked next month at number 9. That would be an interesting spot, by the way. I'd rather see him with Luka than the Jazz. We have 14 seconds left, but the Jazz team is kind of interesting. They had a decent year, I think eventually they start
unexpectedly decent year. Oh, come on.
We got 5 seconds left, 51, and Sean's going to be like, "Oh, there, okay, all right."
Oh,
that just like tripled in price. So say 51 would have been probably the steal of the night. In Nate's estimation, the best price ever.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
That's a name I haven't thought about in a very long time.
Stavi and the dad checking in. I appreciate you guys being here. Hendon Hooker, Lions. I've been reading a lot about Hooker with the Lions. Dan Campbell says that this is going to be his red shirt year. I love Hooker, man. I wish he didn't get injured at the end of the year. I feel, that's always a bummer. When you're just going to the NFL, you get injured at the end of the season, tore his ACL. He'll be out for most of this year. But Jared Goff has got 2 years left on his contract. Definitely can see Hooker taking over the starting quarterback in Lions at some point. Now he is 25, so that a little
He's
bit.
only 3 years younger than Jared Goff,
which is crazy to say. But he eventually will probably get some time. And he's a very fun player to watch at Tennessee last year. Hooker is at 133.
Wembanyama coming up 5 minutes here.
5 minutes. Oh my gosh. Wemby is almost here. It's at 18:02 right now. Next up is Jarris Walker. Jarris Walker is at 26 for the professional draft slot potential. I know I would say Houston Cougars don't have like the biggest fan base compared to a lot of these Power 5 teams, obviously. But like this guy right now is projected to go number 5 to the Pistons. And one of the most versatile defenders in this draft class to the front court, and Walker makes a lot of sense with the passing acumen and budding perimeter shooting prowess he displayed this season. I did read that he does have great passing ability. You think about how the league is going with like Jokic passing out of Gabriel. I was with the funny Jokic passing out of the post and such, and passing from the big man position could be an interesting name. 5 seconds at $26 really seems to be the best price or the best spot for the dollars to draft potential. Was ended far lower than Cam Whitmore, but I understand that Houston just is not a huge fan base. Jahmyr Gibbs, another Lions draft pick. Tons of Gibbs fans, it seems, at 130 right now. That's quite big. 130, Bijan ended closer to 200. But there's a lot of Bama fans out there, of course, tons. And the Lions traded back to take him, right, Nate?
Yeah, and then they drafted him with the 11th pick, which is insanity.
Yeah, so I too thought. I mean, why don't you?
I guess pick up some extra picks if you wanted him, no matter what.
Yeah, but I just want to pick Bijan at 6 and said,
yeah, like that doesn't. That's the part that's like, pick the guy that actually projects to be a top 10 pick instead of like if you're picking 11th, It's basically a top 10 pick, you know?
Gibbs also has patch autos in the set. It's at 6 seconds left. Wemby is now 3 spots away. Smith and Jigba is 2 spots away. Nick Smith Jr., is up next. Jahmyr Gibbs ends at 130. Or Jameyer? I might have said it wrong there. Might be Jameyer.
Ooh, Kai Havertz, Stadium Club beam team.
See, you're not looking up just Bowman Inception because there are some soccer cards ending tonight too.
Willie Mays also ended.
That was a nice price for that.
I don't know what the normal prices are, but 288s.
Well, it had perfect centering, so it definitely sold more than other 5s and 6s. But my grandpa bought that in the Villages for me. He sent me a picture.
Really?
I said that looks like great centering. I said get that for me. I want to grade it. Yeah,
that's amazing.
He got for around like 150 raw.
Wow.
Yeah. Nick Smith Jr. is the next one up. Wemby 2 spots away. The biggest in this entire list. The biggest chase, but Nick Smith Jr. is up first. This is, a player who was top 5 recruit, was said to be top 5 draft potential, injured last year for half the season, but did come back, inconsistent end to the year. Maybe an NBA team turns him into something really nice. We'll see. Jackson Smith and Jigba is the next one up. This was the top receiver picked in the 2023 NFL draft. I really wish it was to the Packers. Man, I would have loved to see it.
I understand it, though. They got their tight ends.
I know.
Position of need, and you get your pass rush.
I get it, but I would love to see it.
It's tough. It would have been nice. But also, the nice thing is we passed him up, and then he proceeded to not go for another 8-9 picks.
Yeah, so it wasn't like, oh, he went next pick. That could have been us, The Seahawks is a great spot for him, though, by the way. Great spot. Yeah. I think along with Metcalf and Lockett, and Geno Smith was obviously great last year. We got 13 seconds left on the Smith and Jigba spot. And then Wemby is up next.
All depends on if Geno Smith can back it up. But
yeah, true. 2 seconds left, 1 second left. And he is done. Here we go.
All right,
55 seconds.
Will it go past 2K?
I think it will. We'll see, but I think it'll end up past 2. I thought it was going to be anywhere between 2 and 3, somewhere in that realm. Definitely the biggest reason why this product is as exciting as it is. Obviously, there's a lot of their players in here. Now it's at 2.5. This is I'm excited to see what his autos come out of the gate at. I think that they'll be quite crazy. Yeah. This will be the first time you ever see a licensed Wembanyama card. It's at 2.5 right now. We got 18 seconds left. Him and Caitlin Clark, the 2 biggest chases in the set. Let's see where it ends up going. We have 10 seconds left.
If it goes above 2.5. Feels like a very healthy price.
Feels healthy. You never know how many autos get pulled, what they end up being.
True.
2.5 ends up being
255.
255 actually. 1 bid at the end snags it away. 255. Well, 255 won. Good luck to whoever got Victor Wembanyama. We appreciate the sport a lot. For anyone that was interested in the Wembanyama spot, that was an accident. Didn't mean the screen share drop off there. We appreciate the support from anyone that is in on the Wemby. Big spot. Nate, I hope you pull 5 autos out, 5 cases. That'd be insane.
Give me some Wemby autos. If I don't pull a Wemby auto, just as an aside, I'm gonna be really salty.
Just
salty. I need to pull at least one.
I gotta see that reaction. We need that video. I want that clip. Jordan Addison is at 60 right now. Jordan Addison's at 60, round 2 pick to the Vikings. One of the top receivers in the draft 2023, next to Justin Jefferson. Should have a fun year from USC. 60 feels pretty solid for that. Ends up at 90. I'd say that feels about right. Exciting player, and good luck to whoever got him. Now, next up is Scoot. Scoot's a big player. I've heard a lot of things, read a lot of things, heard a lot of things that if there's no Wemby, no one named Wemby, he's number 1 overall pick in a lot of different drafts. And they did the Ignite and the
that's a good thing for the Hornets, huh?
Well, Hornets probably aren't taking him is the thing because they don't need him. It's like you remember when the Warriors passed on LaMelo? Clearly, LaMelo was a better prospect than James Wiseman, but they didn't need a guard. They still should have taken him. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would love to see him end up on the Trailblazers playing alongside Dame for like a season until Dame's gone. But he's at 15 seconds. This is his first license card and first autograph.
That would be good. That would be pretty fun. Get him in there. Maybe the Blazers trade Dame away. Get a bunch of picks. Just build.
3, 2, 1. 270 ends up being the number. Obviously, way less than, 300. Way less than Wemby, but to be expected. Either way, big spot. Good luck. Jordan Hawkins. This is, and also I love Hawkins because of Stranger Things. Hawkins High School, Hawkins City.
So are we pretty much done with the Power Hour then?
No, Power Hour still goes on, bro. We're only halfway through. Those are just the biggest names that I put in the first half. I mean, the rest of these names are still all big names.
That's fair.
I would say not. Yeah, they're not as big. That was the biggest spots that just closed, I'd say, right there. But you still have some big names coming up.
Maybe in this Power Hour, the Brewers can find a little power and get out.
Are we winning right now?
1-0 hole we're in right now. No, we're not.
15 seconds left on Hawkins. This has got to be. Oh, he does only have one card in the set. I guess that probably contributes to it. He just has a auto, no base card in here. But even $15, I mean, 5Ks to try to hit a Jordan Hawkins auto seems like quite solid. 26, I'd say is a pretty nice one along with Jarris Walker. Juju Watkins. So this is one of the biggest women's names in the set. Number 1 recruit coming out of Sierra Canyon. Played where Bronny did, same high school, and Amari Bailey. Going to USC along with Bronny, massive social media following, 250,000 plus followers. Played on USA teams, I'm sure. I think I saw some images of her, with them. And I watched some of her film too. She's pretty nasty. Yeah, she's USA for sure. But this is her first. She's only 17 right now too, I think, or at least maybe she's 18 now. Either way. How many cards does she have? She just has the autograph, I think. Yep, just the autograph in here. But I imagine the autograph will be quite sought after. We're at 10 seconds left on the Juju Watkins spots. Fun name, too. We have 4 seconds left. 3, 2, and 1. Ends at 26. I think it'll be fun if they can get an auto. That should be a pretty nice price paid for that. Chris Murray. Chris Murray is the brother of Keegan Murray. Chris Murray will be back into the first round this year. He had a nice year last year. He is, I think, coming out as a sophomore. Brother came out as a freshman, I believe. He's 22, so older than a sophomore, I suppose. Maybe it's a junior.
No, he's a junior. He's a senior.
He would be a senior this upcoming.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. 20 points per game, though, 8 rebounds per game. Like, very nice player. Not, like, top 5 like his brother, but, like, this seems to be the type of player that a team can get him at the end of the first round that like has a nice roster and can grow into a good player.
The Kings?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
At the end of the first round?
That'd be awesome. I'd love that.
That would be awesome.
We have 5 seconds left on Keegan Murray. Murray's got 2 cards in the set, a base and an auto. Ends at 61. Next up is Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett, who didn't graduate college. So apparently he was at Georgia for 7 years, or in college for 7 years. Did not graduate with a degree.
Are you kidding me right now?
No. I wish I were, because I don't know what else you can do. How do you not graduate? You take 3 credits a semester?
I don't understand. His cards are sought after, though. I mean, Georgia fans go crazy for this guy. Okay, wins back-to-back national titles. Is the Rams' backup quarterback now behind Stafford. I would not be surprised if Stafford gets injured again this year, misses time. They bring in the new Georgia quarterback, and he gets some NFL game time this year. He's at 49. He has quite a bit of cards in the set too. I believe it's at 3 seconds left. He's got 10 cards in the set. He just jumped quite a bit there, but he has some of the most cards possible in the set for sure. Next up is Will Levis. I gotta imagine that Jimmy's trying for it. Jimmy is definitely trying for it here. We got Will Levis at more than Stroud and Richardson and Young, and right at Caleb Williams or just above that. So Levis at 40 seconds left here.
Good luck, Jimmy.
Good luck, our guy Jimmy. We've got, I think that it looks like that there is 40 some names left on the list. So we will definitely be hanging out probably up until 9 o'clock hours. A couple guys ending after that. We'll definitely wait and see what Dwan Harris does for Nate.
That's my guy.
He's probably the last guy we'll end up watching here. as the rest of them are, a little bit smaller. I basically packed the front of the 8 o'clock hour with the top guys. Will Levis at 6 seconds left. Dual autos with Shibue. The other important
there's no way Jimmy didn't get this.
I agree. That's got to be Jimmy. The other thing about Jimmy getting Shibue and Will Levis is that, like, how stinky would it be to get Shibue and not Levis, and then Levis and Shibue dual autos hit?
Yeah.
And then you lose a random.
That would stink.
Yeah. Next up is Arterio Morris. This dude I am jazzed about. 51 right now on the bids. Coming in, playing alongside Dwan Harris at Kansas. I hate to say it, but I might actually watch a couple of Kansas games to see how Morris does this year. Not Dickinson, though. I'll boo that guy every time. I'll whistle him like in soccer.
There you go.
51 for Arterio Morris, one of the top transfers of this offseason, and top point guard recruit last year, going from Texas to Kansas, which is very interesting. Inside the conference rival transferring.
Well, that's the type of like you're displeased with how Texas handled you, so now you're going to their biggest rival with one goal and one goal only to destroy Texas.
The funny thing is that Texas destroyed Kansas last year.
They did. They really did.
Next up is
new year, new us.
True, new year. Well, you definitely have enough new players because all you do is take it and send out transfers.
Yeah, well, it's been a weird couple of years with the whole transfer thing. It used to be, you bring in your guys, you develop them, and all of a sudden they're studs junior and senior year, and now it's somebody else develops them, and Bill Self brings them in.
It's true.
I don't know if I like it, but it's just the world we live in.
True. We got 22 seconds left here on Bryce Sensabaugh. Ohio State will be first-round pick in this year's draft.
What is he? What does he play?
I think he's a guard. He is
with a name like Bryce Sensabaugh. He definitely seems like a dude who is about to absolutely have a terrible career. That is not the name of a guy that has a great.
No, he's gonna prove you wrong. That's a fun name.
Sometimes you have names where you're just like, yeah, that's not a basketball player, or that's not a baseball player. Bryce Sensabaugh, that's not a basketball player.
It's a football player.
It sounds like a football player. Sounds like it could be a baseball player. Not a basketball player name.
I think it's a fun
now,
name.
Chris Livingston, that is a basketball player's name.
We've got Chris Livingston here. This is the Kentucky guy Jimmy is also talking about. Was supposed to be a first-round pick, but is going back to school. So that's exciting for Jimmy and all the Kentucky fans. Stabby says 10 NBA raw cards are PWCC starting tomorrow night. How have those sales for those been? First time, Stabby. It definitely depends on like the condition of the card, but there's been some very strong of the NBA raw sales at PWCC. We grabbed a Jesse last week, Pinkman relic, and we grabbed a Gavin Williams refractor from the raw cards the last 2 weeks. Chris sold for around 37. I hope and imagine that Jimmy got that one too. Drew Timmy, definitely.
Coming up.
Shibwe's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Timmy,
man, I see. Now this is where I should buy this spot, and then just if I hit some autos, just give them away to everyone I know that's a Gonzaga fan here.
We'll find someone else doing some breaks to get some Timmy autos or buy a Timmy auto and give it away to someone. 4 total cards in the set: base auto, base card, and 2 insert autos for Drew Timmy. You got 17 seconds left. Normally a guy like this who has no NBA, well, I don't want to say no NBA potential. They did? Did we just lose?
Is that Paul DeYoung?
Did we just lose?
No. We were already losing 1-0, but now we're losing 3-0.
That stinks. 3-0, 56 for Drew Timmy. Gregory Jackson is up next. He will be a first-round pick as well. He will be a first-round pick this year. Coming out of South Carolina. South Carolina's got a pretty good set in here. Big C's. Thank you. And he is projected first round. Yep, NBA draft. 18 years old.
Nice.
21 seconds left. It's at 30 right now.
Where's my boy DeJuan Carter?
He's coming up in a little bit, like 9 o'clock about Central. So he just got a little longer to get there, and then
Hunter
that'll probably be
Dickinson.
live. What
Nice.
you say?
Hunter Dickinson's coming up as well.
Yeah. Khalil Ware, who transferred to Indiana, is a pretty decent name. Big recruit, I think, really quite tall of Oregon. We got Jalen Carter coming up next. Actually, he was, number one prospect in the NFL draft, defensive tackle, also in some legal happenings. Happens quite frequently here with some top players, it seems. And he got drafted by the Eagles, which honestly has got to be the best possible landing spot, I'd say, for him, along with all of his other Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, it's tough because, I think they had a lot of free agents this year, did they not?
What do you mean, the Eagles?
The Eagles, they were signed to win a Super Bowl last year, and after that, I think.
Oh, you're saying they're losing a bunch of players?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm saying good situation. At least they surrounded by his, teammates and such like that.
Oh, I see.
I don't know if he's really
especially Jalen Hurts. Did you see Jalen Hurts graduated with his master's?
I did. What a freaking beast, man.
24 years old, has his master's, while also leading the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
Dude, what a stud.
And then here's Stetson Bennett, who went to 7 years of college and didn't graduate.
We got JJ Starling coming up here. Notre Dame to Syracuse. That's also interconference transfer. But he is coming up here. He's a pretty big player. $20, 33 seconds left. I'm Googling this to see. They're saying there may be reasons to believe that he did not.
Did not what?
Graduate.
Oh.
He said Buddy definitely wasn't playing school like Cardell Jones. Hey, what's the score? I completely forgot about the NBA game tonight. I don't care at all about the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Oh, I forgot about that as well.
Halftime.
Honestly, the whole NBA thing has been kind of dead to me since the Bucks lost. I'm just definitely. So salty.
JJ ends at 20. Next up is Khalil Ware, transferring to Indiana. It's at 51 right now.
66-57 at halftime.
Yeah, just check. Derek Lively is at 51. You hear a lot of Duke fans after that one. Probably he will probably be end of the first round around their pick. Mark Mitchell's at $1 still. Xavier Worthy, one of my under the radar guys, is at $8.50 ending in 20 minutes. DeJuan Harris at 445. Kansas fans, they can't represent. Where's those Kansas fans? Sean,
it's right here. Give me somebody do us proud.
Like Sean, get yourself to want some DeJuan Harris cards. 3 seconds left. Khalil Ware goes for, I think, 52. Shibwe, got to be Jimmy, I'm sure, coming away with this one. 47 seconds left on Shibwe at 152. DeJuan ends at 9:01. Okay, so we got about 20 minutes left. About 20 minutes. I have exhausted my vocal cords, that's for sure, over the last 2.5 hours, or almost 3 hours now. Wow. But we got Oscar Shibwe. Caleb Love is still the end 7 minutes from now. Cade McNamara, who is also for Iowa on this set. He just transferred from Michigan. Be their starting quarterback this next year. Shibwe, we got 6 seconds on the clock. And I can confirm that the Wembanyama spot was paid for anyone out there wondering. Wow. Already paid for. So there you go. That was quick. Appreciate that. Whoever, ended up grabbing Wemby. And for anyone else that's obviously looking to grab spots, you're buying multiple players, you will get those invoices as soon as possible. Jordan, my voice is definitely feeling it, Jordan. Sean says, I just see a much bigger market in college uni cards with either QBs or women's NCAA. Sean's totally right.
Jordan, there was 25.50.
Yep, 25.50 on Wemby. We got Will Anderson, number 3 overall pick, Bama player, linebacker, one of the top prospects as well. I know that they were saying he's one of the best linebacking prospects in a while here. We had 10 seconds left. He went to the Texans. Texans grabbing Stroud and Will Anderson back-to-back was definitely a power move. We had 3 seconds left, and Will Anderson at 51 ends up at 53. Armando Bacot, definitely a college pick here. This would be, you're a Tar Heels fan, and you want to collect your boy. And there's no shame in that. I mean, I have so many Jonathan Taylor college cards. I would have loved to have been able to buy Jonathan Taylor Topps and Bowman Inception patch autographs while he was at Wisconsin. I would have absolutely loved that. But I have a lot of the draft picks cards instead. Either way, we got 28 seconds left here on the Bacot. $27. Let's see how the Tar Heels do this year. I mean, they're returning RJ Davis and Bacot. They're 2 best players from last year, although they obviously flopped. Caleb Love moving. Jordan, absolutely no idea. I mean, kind of had an idea in my head just based off of the product cost and such, but no idea really. This is a first time for us doing this, and we're also like the first auctions to close, I think, for this product. So we'll see, but it's definitely a fun time. I can guarantee you that. This is quite different than what we've ever done before, but a lot of fun. We have Ashlyn Watkins. There she is. Nate, you're under the radar.
She does. What more could you want?
Let's see here. Watkins has got an autograph, I believe, in this set. Yes, she's got an autograph. No base card. We got 28 seconds left on Ashlyn Watkins.
The base cards are a nice addition, but I definitely know what I'm going after in this set if I were to buy something.
Oh, I mean, you're hoping for an auto. The base card is like a make you feel good, like, you can get the numbered base. You hit the 1 of 1 numbered non-auto, you're fired up, obviously.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get a few cards in the mail if they're not autos, and you're feeling at least like a little bit better about yourself. But you definitely want the autos. And Ashlyn ends for $5. That's very under the radar. Nate's pick. Let's see how it pays off this upcoming year. We'll have to get some Watkins and Kiki Bales. I picked what's her name? Kiki Rice. Yeah, Rice. Okay, I was going crazy for a second. BJ Ojolari. Like I said, I think he was a second round pick he was a round 2 pick to the Cardinals, a linebacker of LSU. $4.25. Not the worst at all. He also has only an auto in the set. There's 190 auto subjects and 100 base non-auto subjects. I mean, they obviously overlap some of these people, but he would be one with just an auto. Then Bruce Thornton's at $1 next, which is definitely a decent one if he can rise inside Ohio State going into sophomore year with Sensabaugh gone as well. That would be a decent one to look at.
Question: should we ban Jordan or just mute him for a few minutes? What do you think?
They're definitely not banning him. He comes every Sunday stream, but
fine, we'll mute him. But
no, also don't.
But the absolute heresy that he just
the audacity.
Yeah.
Bruce Thornton at $5.
Not the right word.
Well, I mean, it could be. Kind of.
Well, it's not religious, so.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like that's applicable elsewhere, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. Oh, Xavier Hutchinson ends in 25 minutes. We'll end this one right after Dwan Harris goes. But if anyone's looking for Nate's round 6 Texans receiver, Xavier Hutchinson ends in 20-some minutes.
Who in the wide world is Bruce Thornton?
I told you, Ohio State forward freshman, played pretty well last year. Hopefully, get some more time with Sensabaugh gone. Ernest Uday just got a bid, but not any right now. We got $5.50 here. Not bad.
Ernest Uday is dead to us.
To you.
To everyone.
Bruce, $5.
So we're getting Caleb Love. Kansas future star.
I doubt it. Let's go and see what Twitter has to say. Jordan, there's a good chance. I can't confirm that. Probably not a 3-hour plus stream, but from a sort of similar way and fashion, there's a decent chance that does happen.
Let's see.
For anyone that what?
Oh. Michigan admissions didn't let him transfer.
I just saw that.
He's not smart enough to join the Big Ten, huh? I feel like that's generally the case.
Wait, did not have the necessary academic credits to transfer into the University of Michigan. The necessary credits or grades? Because that's two different things. McNamara just ended at 80.
Well, it's like back in the day when Diamond Stone wanted to go to Wisconsin, but Wisconsin wouldn't accept him.
That's a tough scene because I think that I would have liked that, getting a top recruit.
I would have simply removed the qualifications needed to get into Wisconsin for athletes.
I mean,
he is from Wisconsin and wants to go to Wisconsin.
Just let him in. He doesn't have to go to high school as long as he can play basketball. He's not playing school, so let him in. We got 25 seconds left for Caleb Love.
It is actually smart to have the G League Ignite route now because, if you don't want to go to college, you don't have to go to college. And
the G League Ignite route is very good. Overtime Elite's another route. Obviously still overseas, but that's pretty much dead. Overseas professional route is for sure like dead with those new options.
Yep.
Caleb Love ends on the dot at 22:50. Cameron Ward, this was one of my under the radar boys. $7.50 right now. And for anyone too, I was going to shout this out that is interested in some of the top players now that they are gone. Number 2, case break 5, case break number 2, I will be executing, and that will be happening next week Tuesday. The auctions close on Sunday. We won't be doing a live stream like this for it, but those are ending as well. If you do want to check that out, if you missed out on some of the top players, all their spots will be ending again. Hunter Dickinson just got another pretty big bid there. He's ending in a few spots, I think. He's ending in 4 minutes.
Hunter.
Next up after Cameron Ward is Clayton Tune, who had I think monster stats in college. I think he was a Houston quarterback. He got drafted to the Cardinals. That's who got drafted to the Cardinals. O'Connell didn't. But Tune had monster stats. Hunter Ward ends at 21. And next up is Clayton Tune, who's at 10. Where did O'Connell get drafted to then? O'Connell was round 4 to the Raiders. That's who it was.
Remember that when the Packers took that Penn State QB? It was just absolutely brutal in college.
He was in this product, right?
Yeah, and he stinks.
He had a big arm.
Apparently he stunk in college.
He's a name. He was around for a while. Drew Aller is for sure taking the reins now, though. We got 19 seconds left in Clayton Tune. Anyone who's after quarterbacks, even if just having a backup quarterback, if you have a couple autos, they make that debut. Locked and loaded. Jimmy G gets hurt. We've seen that before.
We've seen that before.
Okay, that's O'Connell. Well, even Kyler Murray gets hurt. We've seen that before.
We've seen that before as well.
Yeah, it's 17. Derek Lively is up next, who was a top 5, I want to say, top 10 recruit last year to Duke. Duke, like we've said, didn't have the most excellent year last year for all their recruits' sake. But
once you lose the cheating ways of Coach K, hard to win.
They didn't make it further in the tournament, I think, than Kansas. They made it to the Sweet 16.
Bill Self didn't coach.
Just waiting for that. 22 seconds left on Derek Lively. I think he's – let's see where they got him going. I'm going 25 to the Grizzlies right now at center.
I always kind of like those guys that kind of have disappointing years, and you get them late half and see if you can fix them, get a competent player out of them.
Yeah, like Nick Smith, that guy that'll end at the end of this lottery.
Mm-hmm.
You got a big recruit. You never know what happens with him, I guess. Wow, Ernest Uday, I guess that a lot of people are excited about him, but he's at 36 now.
He's a former 5-star recruit that's now potentially going elsewhere.
Well, he will be going.
There's probably a couple people that are like, he could go to my school. I want to have his cards early.
Or could go to a big notable school, start, do some damage.
Yep.
We got 23 seconds left on that one. Man, y'all have got to be tired watching this stream. Just let Nate talk for the 1 minute when Dwan Harris is ending, and we'll let him talk to end the stream. You'll be falling asleep by the end of it.
You're funny. Not.
We have 2 seconds left on Uday. Ends at 36.
Uday 76?
36.
Oh, I was like, I heard you wrong right there.
Dickinson is up next. 56 for Hunter. He probably will be in the conversation for National Player of the Year this year, playing at Kansas.
That hurt you? That hurt you inside?
To say that, it stung a bit, I have to admit. But from a card perspective, wouldn't be bad to have cards of the player who's going to be in the conversation for National Player of the Year.
That's true. I agree.
10 minutes left until.
So let's see. Grady Dick sold for 130 something. Jalen Wilson sold for like 51. We'll see if he ends like right in the smack dab middle.
Yep, he'll split it. 10 seconds left. 56 for Dickinson. 3, 2.
But he's in a Michigan jersey, which really
he is
kind of ruins the appeal for me.
Yep, ends at 56. Probably why. Next up is Jordan Walsh. Was he going to be in the NBA draft? He is. He's supposed to go in the second round. Also have Arkansas. Arkansas is quite a big team in the set, honestly.
Arkansas?
Yeah, funny comment about that.
Kansas, that's all.
Kyle Filipowski is the next one up, the top scorer from Duke last year, returning. I think he was going to be a first-round pick and then decided to go back. We got 17 seconds left on Jordan Walsh. Mark Mitchell is also coming up after that, another Duke player. He's only at $3. Tua's little brother,
I don't know how to say it.
Talia? He's a Maryland quarterback. He's set all records at Maryland, actually, for passing yards and completions, I think. Maybe touchdowns, too. Jordan Walsh ended at 26.
How many records are there to break at Maryland?
You're not wrong. But, yeah, he's coming up.
He's got more records than me, don't get me wrong. But
yeah, don't be chirping. Don't be hating.
Not the most prestigious football school in the world.
No. Better basketball for sure. But either way, fun to see. We got 32 seconds left on the Filipowski. What's this NBA game at? Let's see. This got close. Nice. We'll be done just in time to watch the rest of the game. 71-68.
Ooh, good. Personally, I just want the Heat to win.
Yeah. I can't stand them Celtics. Kyle is at 34, going to 42 on Kyle.
Somebody asked earlier, I don't know if it was Jordan, who you would take over in the NBA over Wembanyama right now.
Draymond Green asked that.
Which is a wild question because it's so tough because you don't know how long his career is going to be or how good he's going to be. But there's some guys, but there's not as many as I would probably think that I would take right now over him.
Draymond Green said that he would trade 10 players. No, he would trade 440 for Wembanyama. 10 he wouldn't. And he included LeBron in that list, which I guess if you want to say surefire competitiveness for the next couple of years, sure.
Yeah.
17 seconds left on Mitchell. Kevin says, I just paid for Ashlyn Watkins in spite of your Celtics disrespect. Look at that, Nate. Kevin's a believer in your Ashlyn Watkins take. Although I know Kevin, I think, is pretty big in women's collecting too. 2 seconds left on Mark Mitchell. Ends at 13. Could be a fun one. He was one of my under the radar guys. Some great slashing ability. Tua's younger brother here is at 50 seconds remaining.
So I'm very curious about this because $7, you would think Tua's brother would be enough to just carry it.
I mean, you look in.
But we're also talking Maryland.
Clayton Tune sold for 20-something, who had a massive college career.
Yeah.
So we'll see where he ends. But Kevin, thanks for grabbing that spot. We appreciate it. Anyone who watched this stream and grabbed a spot, we appreciate it. You don't have to comment if you bought one or not. But if you did, thank you a lot. It means a lot. I'm really excited to watch this break on Friday. I know it's been a little bit since the Bowman release date. Sean, break is at 2 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. It'll be live here at 2 p.m. Eastern time, but you can watch it anytime after that on our channel. You got 6 seconds left. On to his younger brother. Gets up to 18.
Hey, we're getting close to DeJuan Harris.
We are. We're only a few spots away. I think 5.
What are we at on DeJuan?
It's at – it might be a little bit more in this by now. Oh, my gosh. It's up to 56 now.
Oh.
Wow. That caught me off guard. Oh, Kevin just tuned in. Ashton Watkins was one of his number 5 under the radar player in the set.
It's just, you play at a major program. You've got a ton of talent. You barely played last year. Seems like a prime example of a breakout. And if she has any sort of breakout, I mean, it's so cheap.
Yeah. Definitely worth it. Tyler Buckner, this guy just transferred to Alabama from transfer to Alabama from Notre Dame. He'll be in competition for the starting quarterback. I don't know if he'll get it, but I mean, for a flyer and a guy that might be starting at Alabama, I mean, why not? Gets up to 32.
We just want DeJuan.
Next up is Tyler Van Dyke. He's an interesting name. This is one of the guys who could become, one of the first round picks next year for the quarterbacks. Return to Miami to improve his stock. Definitely the ability to be a first round pick. We'll see what happens. But Miami, I don't think they were that good that last year, so we'll see here. But it's at 61 right now. He's one of the bigger QB names that is still left for sure. He was actually one of the bigger QB names in the set. Came in at tier 3. Would probably be like a tier 2 if he, I think, is a little bit more risky though than like the other prospects in the 2. Just got the notification, Kevin. We got 10 seconds left on Tyler Van Dyke. Next up is Xavier Worthy, the Texas receiver I'm excited about. We have 4 seconds left on TVD. Ends at 61. He actually has quite a bit of cards in the set. I think it's like 11 different cards in the set. That's some of the most of anyone. Xavier Worthy is up next. We got 46 seconds left on this. And then we've got Cam Rising. Cam Rising was the Utah quarterback. They had quite a good year last year. I don't know. I haven't researched enough about him and possible NBA probably, or not NBA. Imagine that. Utah quarterback goes to the NBA.
That'd be amazing.
Not NBA. But NFL backup potential probably somewhere in that realm. But Caroline Ducharme is also a name for women's college basketball in here. Probably pronounced her name wrong. But she is a 6'2" guard, 7 points per game, 4 rebounds per game as a sophomore. She's up in 2 minutes. She's at 12:50 right now. Xavier Worthy just ended at 52. Next up we've got is Cam Rising at 1550, our quarterback. Big John says, do you think the players who will still be in college will do well price-wise long-term this year? I definitely think that gives you the most potential, Big John. We talked about a little bit earlier. It gives you the most runway for these players to build up their player names, their increase in the draft list, all that different stuff leading up to their drafts, leading up to going professional. Not to say this is going to be the level of Bowman Chrome prospecting. It's not. Of course, Bowman Chrome prospecting has been around for 20 years, but I see this taking a similar vein, a similar role in the market that you can get.
Especially those patch autos.
Yeah, I think those are going to be the big cards out of this set and the dual patch autos as well. That'll stand pretty big test of time. At least I'm excited about them. I know not everyone might be. Cam Rising is at 26, just ended. Next up, we are very close. We're 2 away from DeJuan. 2 away from.
It's the only thing I care about now. What will DeJuan go for?
Wow, you don't care about the Packers receiver, Wicks? Not as much as DeJuan.
Not much.
After
Wicks
the
hasn't done anything for me yet. DeJuan has won me a championship.
That is true. Daniel, off the top of my head, what spots do you think went undervalued in your opinion? Jarris Walker, the Houston guy who's going to go top 5 in the draft or right around top 6. he was pretty much undervalued, I'd say, especially because he has a lot of cards in the set. He has 10 different cards in the set. That's a lot. You know, some of these players have 1, 2, 3, maybe. He has a lot. That's probably the best value buy. Jordan Hawkins has the auto in the set that was sold pretty cheap. Football wise, I think what's his name? I think it was Klubnik who ended around like 150, which while it's still expensive, seems like for what he is and what he can be, was pretty solid. Dwan Harris, and also I'm actually not even gonna say. I was about to say Hunter Dickinson might have been one of the better ones at 56 from like a can do something this year, but also
I think you're a closet Kansas fan.
No.
I do.
Listen, which Kansas fan wants to buy a Michigan jersey auto, and which Michigan fan who he clearly just spat in their face?
Yeah, nobody. That's
exactly.
a big problem for those cards.
Yeah, so like it really weeded out like half the collecting base with his transfer. But from like what could he do in college? You know, like obviously Dwan Harris is going to be more in the hearts of Kansas fans. Already won a national title. So it makes sense why it's a sign for more. But from an NBA, well, even Dickinson's not really going to do anything in the NBA probably. We'll see, I guess. I can't believe that guy hit that stupid shot again. So that's what kept us out of the tournament. Can't stand that guy.
2, 1.
60
healthy. Dwan Harris going for more than Jalen Wilson is wild to me.
Yeah, that was crazy, actually. And Jalen Wilson seemed pretty
It's probably Christian Brown buying this spot.
Right? All right, so that ends most of our player coverage here. I will just run over the players that are remaining. Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback, put up quite a bit of stats, but probably not much NFL potential. DJ transferred from Clemson to Oregon State with Kate Klubnik taking the reins. Donovan Klingen is the massive center for UConn, won a national championship already. He's going to be a sophomore. He showed a pretty big role next year. Wicks, Packers receiver now. Felix Akpara is the Ohio State center. He's going to be a sophomore. He's pretty solid, I think. Spencer Sanders is going to battle for the starting role at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has like 3 quarterbacks, Nate, that could start. All of them like have, big recruit from LSU that you said. Jackson Dart started last year. Sanders was the Oklahoma State quarterback last year. It's really weird. Same with Alabama. They have a lot of players too. Winston, right? Not really sure who that is. I could look, but Xavier Hutchinson, that's the guy Nate pointed out. Texans 6-star receiver. Zach Harrison went to Ohio State. I think that Ryan called him out too, and he was former 5-star defensive end drafted in the round by the Falcons. And then Israel Abanikanda actually had some crazy stats, I'm pretty sure, at Pitt. And he also is like 20 years old and just got drafted in the NFL, Nate. He's very young.
Oh, wow.
He got drafted to the Jets. So he's a very young running back to hit the NFL, but he's going to be the very last player drafted.
He's also a Jets running back.
Yeah, so they have Breece Hall and Michael Carter. So, he's a crowd backfield, but he's very young. Those are the last names ending tonight. I just got to say thank you to everyone that came. 3 hours and 15 minutes is a long stream. It was a fun one. Did something we never did before, covered this 5Ks player auction. Player auction number 2 for the next 5Ks break that is ending on Sunday. You can go and actually right now, if you typed in our store, Bowman Inception number 2, and I'm just going to start by the highest bid really quick. You can see there are a bunch more spots that are ending. So if you missed out on anyone tonight and you want to get them for the next break that I'll be breaking this on Tuesday. The spots will end Sunday night. Feel free to go grab them. Whatnot on Friday is going to be the pick your team breaks. USC just sold tonight. There's still a lot of teams left for that. Some pretty solid deals there, so you can go grab those. And then also make sure you get your payments in as quickly as possible, please. It'll help a lot. But they are due 2 hours before the break on Friday. Otherwise, you will forfeit your spot. So you got to give in 2 hours before the break on Friday, which means you have to have them in by 9 a.m. Pacific time or noon Eastern time. And we will send out combined shipping invoices as soon as possible, as soon as all these spots end and such like that. We'll send out combined shipping invoices for those that bought multiple spots. Will be 50 cents per additional player that you bought. So that's all I got. Nate, thanks for joining.
Yep.
It was a fun time. Thanks to all the guests that joined, Ryan, Jimmy, and Manny. That was awesome to hear from them. And we'll see you all next time here. See you break day, Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Nate, go get him. I hope you post some massive stuff. And we'll see you all then.
See you guys.